Welcome to Mal and Nat Sister Chat, episode 5. Just kidding. What are we on?
We don't know. No one knows for sure.
No one knows for sure. Welcome. Mallory was about to launch into a story, so take it away.
Take it away, Aaron. All right. Story time. I'm so tired.
I know.
So cranky. It takes me a minute to wake up. Anyways, okay.
You can't be successful without the sacrifice of time. I don't know. I'm trying to say something cool.
No idea I was going to finish that sentence.
Somehow it all makes sense.
Sacrifice and love and peace. Okay. So
namaste. I was kidding.
We're so wise already. So anyway, what were we talking about? Chance. It had to do with Chansey.
You couldn't remember.
So the other day, so I was like rubbing his back, and I accidentally somehow knocked his glasses off on the floor. We both heard it, but like we didn't actually see it. Anyway, and then like it was time for bed, and he's like, "Where's my glasses? Where did you put them?" And I was like, "I didn't put your glasses anywhere." And he's like, "Yes, you did, because they're not here." And I was like, "I literally didn't touch your glasses. Like, why would I pick up your glasses?" And he's like,
"Sometimes when you're at work, I try them on. I'm sorry."
Anyway, so he was like scouring the house. He upends the house when he's looking for something. It's so weird. I don't know. It's like everything's like.
Did a robber come, or did Chansey lose his glasses?
Couches are upside down. Like I'm like, what is going on? Like, where are they? I don't know how to help you. Anyway, but then like he was like starting to convince me that I took them, and my memory is so bad that I was like, yeah, I might have. Like now that you mention it, maybe
I do have a fascination with your glasses. I am going to
anyway, I was thinking if I were a witness in court, I would be the worst, because I literally both sides would be like, you did this at this time. I'd be like, yeah, I think I remember that. And I remember like the color of his hair, like just makeup crap.
The power of suggestion is strong.
Anyway, it came out to be under the couch, and it wasn't me, but like I totally could have been convinced that it was. So anyway, that's not even that cool.
Okay. Well, this is funny because it makes me feel like it's not just me that, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just really stupid, I guess, but I think
okay. We're both stupid.
We're both stupid, so I feel better. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's our family culture, so it does make me feel a little better, because I'm like, I swear there's something, like I'm broken, but anytime
it feels like a defect more than a culture thing.
I really don't. So Corey and I have discussed this at length. He's like, I really think that your family just didn't value, like, he's like, we'd be driving in the car as kids, and my parents would be like, where are we, guys? Look at this landmark. Like, what are we right now in the world, And they'd all be like, and it was like the thing they did.
Northeast of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, which is hilarious to me. But that was their thing, and that's what they got praised for. So he's like, we became very observant, like where we were and at all the times, and like if you noticed details, you were just really praised. And I was like, yeah, we were almost made fun of and like put down for that. Don't be like.
Why do you know where you are?
Yeah. Doesn't your brain need to like have more important things running through it right now?
I really did though, like because the random smart people in our family, like Brandon and like maybe Lige,
got made fun of.
Why are you studying physics, you idiot?
Oh my gosh, you think you're smart or something?
You're gonna like get a free ride.
They did.
And they did. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they were definitely the ones that we were all surprised by. Like, where did you come from? Why are you smart?
Why are you smart? Like, it's kind of like a jealousy, so we have to make fun of them.
That's what it is. Yeah, I really do think it's a learned thing, though, because we're broken, all of us. But I was going to tell you, that's funny, your story, because some of our biggest fights, we've had to have, like, some big talks over if you lose something, you can't automatically blame me, even though you have a 90% chance that it is me, because it makes me feel like I'm going crazy, and it makes me so sad. Like, if he's like, oh, it was probably you, and then I find out it wasn't, it just makes me feel like a crazy old lady, and I'm like, I know it's like living with someone with dementia. I'm sorry for you for that reason, but you can't do that. Like, you have to assume other things first, just to keep our marriage intact, because it makes me crazy when he's like, I know it was you, and then it isn't, because I'll do the same thing. I'll be like, I think you're right. I think it must be. I can't rely on my own memory at all.
It's bad.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
It's bad. We should probably work
Um,
on that.
yeah, collectively. One time me and Gabe we were traveling together.
Oh
Gabe's our
no.
oldest brother, and like we live in the same state, so we were traveling to Utah together. Anyway, we might be the worst combo of like memory in the family.
I didn't know he had a bad memory too. That's
Oh
funny.
my gosh, he's like worse than all of us. He relies on Janessa, so he never gets heat
Mm-hmm.
for it because she's like a genius. Not a genius.
Yep.
She's just not retarded. Not stupid. Sorry, retarded's not nice. Uh, anyway,
She's just firing on all cylinders.
all her cylinders fire. Anyway, uh, so we're like, wow, she's genius.
I know.
Um, anyway, so like we were traveling together, and we were like, this is like the blind leading the blind. Gabe was like, I think this might be the worst gene pool of the.
You and him together.
But like as far as like directions
Yeah.
and logistics, like we were like, I don't know. We got lost. Like it was bad. We were like, I don't
Yeah.
know what's
Yeah.
happening.
It's bad. I rely very heavily on Corey to the point that when I do have to travel by myself, I feel like I'm
Yeah,
mad because I'm like, am I a grown woman or not? Like
I
I
know.
have to be
I
able to
always like
handle these
march
situations.
around, like have like a
Yeah.
bossy walk, because like maybe it'll
Yeah.
help me find my way or something.
And feel better about myself that I don't even know my way around an airport. I can't even read the signs. Like Corey would just
Oh.
tell me where to go. I don't know. Yeah, that's good to know. It's not just a. I was like thinking it was a
Like
girl
a
thing or
female
something.
thing. No,
Yes, I'm
no.
like,
Are you kidding
oh.
me? You know how many times Devin's lost his wallet and phone when he's traveled by himself? Claire's like, you
And
cannot.
Claire's
And
like,
Claire will like walk him through the steps. Okay, now this is what I want you to do. Still,
"Hey,
it's like
where was
completely
it?
hopeless.
I
Um,
know. Corey has tried to like train me. Like he's trying to help fix our gene pool or something. But he'll be like,
it's like
see
our
that
kids
mountain
can't be
over
this
there?
way.
I know. Like, see that mountain over there? Is that north, east, south, or west? And I'm like, well, like, yeah. So
Uh,
I do know my directions now, which I never did
that's
before.
good.
But
That is good to know your
other than
directions.
that,
You're
like,
one
Corey,
step
how
ahead
about
of
you
me.
just stick with me, and then I don't ever have to learn any of this.
I know.
Yeah,
That's bad.
it's bad.
Don't promote that. You should be a self. What do you call that? I can't
So
see my brain.
you should
It's
be
too
a
tired. You
self-reliant
should
or
self something. You should be an empowered woman. Moving
no.
on. All right.
Okay. Anyway, we're talking about
um,
Sense and Sensibility today.
yes, we are because we read it. Did you?
Yeah, I read
Yeah,
3/4 of it. I'm not finished yet.
yeah, that's good. That's most of it anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
I've read it like 3 times before anyway,
yeah,
but it's still, yeah, it's been a while. I was rereading it and I'm like, these lines are so
I
good.
know
It's
she's so
just such a
good.
good book.
I have
Yeah.
not read that book before. I don't know why. I think I know why. When I started it in high school, they like went through Eleanor the Sensible Sisters love
Yeah.
story like so fast in the beginning. It was like in 3 pages that I was like, this is stupid. Like she didn't even dwell on her and Edward like getting in love. And so then I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not reading it. So like I just didn't read it.
I'm
But
bored.
it was really good though. I loved it.
It does
Anyway.
become, yeah, it does become more alluring the older you are, I think.
Yeah, and like you kind
Because,
of realize not everything is happily ever after the end. Like it kind of
yes.
doesn't end super satisfying, so maybe that's why I didn't like it either. But I always liked the
Yeah.
movie, so I don't know.
Well,
Um,
I really I almost like this one more than Pride and Prejudice. And in high school, Pride and Prejudice was my
yeah,
favorite book
yeah,
ever because it's a lot more dramatic and
yeah,
the romance is, yeah, more satisfying and stuff. But
yeah,
this one's fun because it feels more like real life. So
yeah. I agree. So I feel like the point of her whole book was like if you can't tame your what do you call that?
your
uh,
inner, no, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I don't know
Your
your
passions.
passions. Yeah, then your life will be sad and you'll have to marry someone you don't really like. Like the end. I was like,
She
it's
ended
kind of
up
messed
loving
up.
Colonel Brandon. Like
I
that was,
guess I did not like the way that they did that. I was like, I don't know. I just felt like they were like, I guess I'll marry him because it makes him so happy. So I'm like, that doesn't feel
yeah,
right. I don't know.
yeah.
Just I didn't
It
like
was
that.
I think it was supposed to be her maturing and being like, I want different things now, and so
Yeah.
it wasn't supposed to be this.
Well, and it's kind of like I feel like the difference. Her and Willoughby were like an American romance. We're like, yes, passion, love.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
then
Yeah.
her and Colonel Brandon were like a British romance. We're like, wah, wah, wah.
All right. No
But
one's
probably
expressing
more
themselves.
stable. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I now as an adult, I read her and Willoughby, and I'm like, oh, I hope she doesn't end up with this guy. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
obviously you know what's coming if you've read it, but also knowing he's the bad guy and then reading it. Wow, that's probably the biggest spoiler if you've never read the book.
I'm the bad
Willoughby's
guy.
not the bad guy.
He's very
Anyway,
good.
he's a great guy. Um, it is interesting though to read it knowing he's the bad guy because you are kind of like there just are guys like that. Like everything she says is amazing. He
Yeah.
adores her. He
Hmm.
worships her. You
Hmm.
know, and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah. No,
You
I did like that. I like how she made Willoughby. She did a really good job.
Yeah. Well, I just read a marriage book and they talk about, he says, one of my favorite lines from there was nobody, something like this, nobody makes a better sparring partner than your spouse. So, oh, he said, yeah, anyway, the elegance of marriage is that there's not a better sparring partner than your spouse. And that's one of the things that's annoying about Willoughby is he's not there to spar with her. Everything she says, he agrees with. They have all of the same sentiments, all of the same opinions. So there's no pushback. And I
Yeah.
think when you're a teenager, you're like, that's beautiful. And when you're married, you're like, oh, they're headed for disaster. He
Yeah.
kind of realized the importance of having somebody who pushes back against you and
Yeah.
yeah, helps you see the opinions you have that are flawed and vice
Yeah.
versa.
I
So
think that's true. There was I mean, I think that her and Colonel Brandon were it could have been cute. I didn't like the way she wrote it. Like at the very end, she's kind of like, and what's her name? Not Eleanor. What's her
Marianne.
Marianne. And Marianne like never gave her heart halfway to anybody, and so she didn't give it halfway to Brandon. And that was like them summarizing their love story. And I was like,
Oh,
that's so lame. Like make it cute because she
yeah.
had such a fun personality. You could have made it like really cute, you know. But
Yeah.
she just kind of
Like
like threw
actually
it
showed.
threw it
Yeah, they
together,
didn't
which
really show
I
anything.
think that was kind of the point of her book, though. Is like we're not focusing on her because this is her love story because this isn't the healthy one, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and Eleanor's love story did kind of like sneak in, yeah, as the better one,
Yeah, which is
which,
interesting because it was kind of focusing on Marianne the whole time, and
right.
then yeah,
Yeah, it was fun.
yeah,
I like the switch and the contrast. And yeah, there were some interesting things in there. I think I don't know what has been written about Jane Austen, but I got the feeling that I was like, this sounds like an introvert writing about
I thought
introverts
the
and
same thing.
extroverts. She's like, all extroverts are so emotional and annoying. And I was
I
like,
thought the same thing.
okay,
I was
yeah,
actually like, my heart kind of went out to Marianne because I was like, I feel
yeah,
like they're just really throwing her under the bus.
yeah. She's
I
being
know a lot of
misrepresented
extroverts, and
here.
they're not all
Yeah.
like this.
Well,
Anyway,
and like, I definitely related with Marianne on some levels, but like, when she's like, Marianne had to give elegance to the situation by crying her eyes out for weeks and
yeah.
weeks and weeks, and she would. Anyway, it was just funny because it was a caricature of extroverts, and I was like, "This is how introverts see us. This is really interesting." I was like, "It's not even kind of accurate to how I feel," but I'm like,
You're
"If
like, oh no.
this is how it must feel to someone who's very steady and more introverted when they see somebody displaying a lot of emotion. They're just like, that's way over the top and going on way too long. And because
I felt
I was
like,
annoyed with Marianne.
yeah, yeah. Well, I felt like in the movie they did a better job of showing the downside of being as temperate and controlled as Eleanor was, and I really loved that. In
Yes.
the book, they didn't really. They were kind of like, "This is the ideal, control everything," and I was like, I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but in the movie, like Marianne's like, by the way, there's a couple versions. What movie are we referring to, Natty? Quick,
The good
back me up.
movie.
The good one. The one with
um,
all the people that are
Kate
good.
Winslet
Yeah.
and
What's her name?
what's her
Like
name?
Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson.
Yeah. Anyway, that's obviously the better one. It's still good.
And
I watched it recently and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like they did
oh, it's
such a good
so
job."
good.
God,
You
yeah.
can't beat that one. They've
No.
tried, but I'm like,
No.
nope.
Oh my gosh,
Sorry.
I started this 1980s version. It's like they
Yeah.
had like all these good reviews, and I just the minute that they showed Eleanor, I was like, I hate it, I hate you, and I hate you for
Yep.
trying.
I don't like it. Stop it. Why are you trying to be Emma Thompson?
You
Yeah.
can't.
You
Anyway,
can't.
that's just
It
a
came
very
out
strong
before
opinion.
hers. Yeah.
Yeah.
How dare you?
But anyway, so the movie was really good. But the part in the movie where Eleanor is like finally telling Marianne after months that she has known
Yes.
about Edward's engagement, secret engagement, and that Marianne's like, "Where is your heart, Eleanor?" And she's like, "Stop it!" Like she's like smacks her away, like stop
Yeah.
trying to get into my feelings. I loved that because that just like I totally relate to that. And then
That
also
people
at the
underestimate your ability to feel emotion because you don't express it. Like,
and just like you don't want anyone in, even your sister. Like you're just
yeah,
like, don't even go
back off.
there.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, I just thought it was
Me
really,
too.
gosh, so well acted. I love them so much. But
Yeah.
and then the very end when Eleanor just like loses it in front of everybody and just starts bawling uncontrollably.
Yes,
I
that
thought
was
that was
really
so
good.
cute because in the book she's like she left the room and cried silently, but in the movie she just like loses control, and I love that because I was like that is exactly what happens when you stuff it for so long. Like you just like you can't
Yeah.
control it anymore. You're just like
Yeah. It doesn't
and
matter who's looking
yeah,
and yeah.
end up embarrassing yourself. So that is the downside of doing that, which I thought was good to show because I'm like it's not like
Yes.
all good.
Yeah, I think they kind of took her what felt like a biased version and just kind of balanced it a little bit in the
Hmm.
movie. They're like, she is the hero, but here's the
Yeah,
downside. Yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was they did a better job displaying the balance. I'm not sure if that was Jane Austen's point, but they
Right.
definitely pulled that out. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
Do you like
Um,
the movie better than the book? Like, is this one of those that
um, I think I do. Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I
I think I do.
know, I
I
know.
think I do.
I think I do
Um,
too. That's
no, I
very
don't know.
fair.
She writes so beautifully, and it's just fun to be a part of
Yeah.
that. I like
Yeah,
to
it
listen,
is.
just to read. Her words are just fun,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I did like the movie better, which is funny.
I
That never
think the
happens.
character development's better in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. I remember thinking in the movie when I would watch it that Marianne and Colonel Brandon's love story was so stupid, and I was like, okay, because the book like really didn't go into it. So like in the movie, they literally she's like sad, sad, sad. He brings her a book. They have one scene of him like bringing her a book, and then the next scene they're like double wedding, and I was like, what?
What is happening?
I was like, this is the dumbest like wrap up I've ever seen.
That's
Anyway,
hilarious.
but
That's
yeah,
the
the
way
book
to
really didn't.
Marianne's heart. He just needed to bring her a book.
I guess. I just am like she was so passionate and so full of life and fun. Like they could have really made it like slow because she wasn't sure about him, but then like slowly falls in love and then I don't know. It just would have been fun and cute, but then instead they're like, "Here's a book. Let's get married." I was like, "Oh
Did
boy."
you watch the movie just recently? Or has it been a while?
Yeah, it's recently, the last, I mean,
Okay.
month probably.
The last month, okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember it felt like they were trying to show a sort of montage of them falling in love because it started with him saving her and she like kind of looked at him a little differently after that. And
Yeah.
then it did show time passing, her having a lot of time to reflect, and then he brings her a book. So you're kind of like she learns who she is, then she can accept him in her life. You know what I mean? I felt
Yeah.
that from the movie anyway.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be like she was humbled and realized it's not all just passionate and do exactly what you feel in the very moment. And
Yeah.
um, anyway, but
Yeah, you watch her mature in the
yeah,
movie, which I agree with you, it demonstrates that better than the book. The book is just kind of like, and now she's marrying the old rich guy, the end. You're like, wait, what?
wait,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I always
Anyway,
find like young to old romances so romantic though. So I always thought that she was like
yeah,
their story was way cute. I was like,
yeah. I thought it was too.
yeah.
Um, Especially when they're not like creepy or weird. Like he just had broken his heart and he couldn't find another girl, and I'm just like, ah.
Right. Well, and yeah, back then it was just different. Culturally, it was different. But because
Yeah.
who was I talking with? I think it was Coley. We were talking about Little Women. She's like, oh, the professor and Joe. That's the part I hate the worst. It's so gross. And I was like, that's the only romance I like in that whole
Yeah,
story.
I
And
like that one too.
he's like 15 or 20 years older than her. She's like,
Yeah.
huh. I'm like, that's cute. Yeah.
I feel like they need to really build up those love stories though to where you can accept it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I feel like they're just like, and it worked. I'm like, why though? Make it explain it.
Tell us why. Well,
Tell
and
us
culturally
details.
too, I think they they did nail it. They're like, he's rich and she's handsome, you know, like
What
Like
more
back
could you
then,
want?
that was good enough. Yeah, Jane Austen was obviously trying to make fun of that and break through it, but at the end of the day, it kind of was like Marianne's pretty and he's got money. Perfect. Yeah.
It was a good
Anyway,
match.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did like that he just kind of like patiently and steadily waited for her too. I was like, it was just a good showing. They were talking about how he really was passionate and time had kind of tempered that or whatever.
Yeah.
But every extrovert needs someone a little steadier in their life, and I was like, that was cute to me. It didn't mean he
Yeah.
was without feeling. He just was really good at
Well,
controlling.
and I didn't even dislike him or his character. I just didn't like how she wrote their love story. I was like, it could have been so good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, it was just kind of a rapid
they
wrap
did
up.
it in like one sentence. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what? Anyway, but I loved how she wrote. Okay, I don't know. This is where I like the book better. I loved how she wrote Lucy in the book. I was like, oh my gosh, like she did
Oh
so
my gosh.
good.
Yes.
I was like, she explained like a mean girl so perfectly,
Oh, the
and the
subtleties of woman contrivances
oh
was
my gosh.
so
The
perfect.
movie, so here's the problem with the movie, and Emma Thompson got like a lot of heat for this. Apparently, I was doing like research, but she
Okay.
was casted way too old for that part. She was supposed to be
Yeah.
like 19. She was
Yeah.
38, and she's
Yeah.
in my eyes, Emma Thompson can do no wrong. So I'm like, you can be
Yeah.
whatever age you want. So,
Yeah. Go Emma.
but but at the same time, it kind of so Emma and Lucy are supposed to be rivals, and Lucy's like constantly trying to make her jealous. And in the movie, you're like, she's like 10 years older than her, so and she kind of looked at her like, there's not really you're not making me jealous. It's not working, and you kind of because she's so much older than her, you're like, okay, that makes sense. But in the book, it
Right.
made a lot more sense because they're very close in age, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I can get on board more with this. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that's true. It was kind of an older cast movie just in general because I'm pretty sure Colonel Brandon was like 40, right? At least.
oh,
Maybe
he's supposed
not.
to be in
He's
the
supposed to be
book, wasn't he?
35, but he was not
35.
supposed to be anywhere
Yeah.
near um what's her name? Now I'm thinking of her real name, but the oldest sister,
Eleanor. Oh,
Eleanor's
Emma Thompson. Oh, yeah.
yeah, I was thinking Emma, and I'm like, that's not her
Oh,
name.
yeah, yeah.
He was supposed to be near Eleanor's age, and yeah, I was trying to think of who else. So they've done that a few times. The Gwyneth Paltrow Emma is very old cast, is an older cast too. Like everyone's supposed to be 19 or 20,
She looked
and
her age, I thought. Didn't
I
she?
thought she was. Hold on, let me look. I thought she was older, and so was the Harriet. I thought Harriet was like 35 in that or
Harriet
something.
looked older, but I thought Emma looked, I mean, she looked in her early 20s.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong then about that one. Let me look.
But
Oh yeah, you're right. She was only 24.
yeah.
Maybe I'm just thinking of
I think
Harriet.
she did so good in that.
She
It's like
was
my favorite role
amazing.
that she's had.
It's so fun.
Uh
That's a great one because it's like she made the mean girl the main girl, which is
yes.
yeah.
You kind of get into their head and you're like, "Oh, they're not so mean after all.
Yeah,
They're
she's
just kind
just
of dumb."
thoughtless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so Harriet Smith is supposed to be 17.
Yeah, yeah. She's older than
Uh,
Emma in the casting. That she looked older anyway.
she did look quite a bit older. I don't know her name. Anyway, and I thought that Knightley was old, but again, he was supposed to
He
be, so
did
maybe that
so
one was.
good.
I loved him so much. I always tell Corey, I'm like, you're like Knightley. Like that was
Knightley.
like my ideal man was
Oh,
Knightley.
that's
I'm like,
cute. You
he's
married a
just.
Knightley. How
I did.
cute.
Yeah, because I was like, he's just. I always liked the sweet guys. Like he wasn't
Quiet,
someone
sweet.
that was. Yeah, he's just quiet, and everyone who knew him liked him, but he wasn't like the. He wasn't the Frank Churchill who comes in and makes a
Yeah.
big splash and all, and charms
Yeah.
everyone. And
Flatters
I
everyone.
always
Yeah.
loved Natalie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Um,
um,
so yeah, I thought the way that she wrote Lucy was so good. I was like, "Oh my gosh." She
yeah,
she makes you hate her. Like you're like, she's so annoying.
yeah,
But yeah. I feel like in the movie, the Lucy was like I don't know. Okay, I know people are. That's not nice, but she's supposed to be like really pretty, and I didn't think she was
I didn't
super
think
in the
she was
movie.
that.
So it was kind
Yeah,
of hard for me to get on board with this like super pretty, like,
yeah,
but contriving, girl. So I was just like, I don't understand why she's jealous at all because she's just kind of like annoying and I don't know. That was
yes.
just my opinion, but
No, I was with you. So she actually is like, hold on, let me. So you were right about the Emma, by the way. Everyone's like 20. I don't know why I thought they were all like 40.
That's funny.
Probably because when I watched it at 19, I'm
You
like,
were,
they're
yeah,
all
you were young.
old. Yeah. Um, yeah, okay. She is really pretty.
Who, Lucy?
Yeah, but as like in
Maybe it
her
was the
costuming,
costuming. Yeah.
yes. And they seemed to purposefully downplay her beauty. Maybe she outshone the
Mm.
um
Marianne or something.
yeah, what's their last name? The sisters.
The sisters. I don't know.
They call her Miss whatever
Dashwood. Miss Dashwood.
Dashwood. There we go. She might have been a little too pretty next to the Dashwoods or something because they have her dressed in colors that don't flatter her, and I know that that's a very
Right?
purposeful thing they'll
Well, and
do
her
in
hair
movies.
was like, I don't know. I didn't feel like they did good. Her
Yeah,
costuming.
I'm really curious what she looks like in real life. I'm about to
Granted,
find
she's
out.
supposed to be like lower in station than the
Right.
Dashwoods. So she's not really supposed to be like really fashionable and like,
Right.
whatever.
Okay, so I don't find her like super pretty either, but I have learned, I mean, she's cute. She's just
Hmm.
fine. But I have learned that who the British think are really
Yeah.
pretty, Americans do not,
Well,
or
and they
we
don't
at
think
least
that Americans are pretty. Like
no.
who we
We
put
have
up
a
like,
very
yeah.
different sense of beauty. Yeah.
Hmm.
I do think that their sense of beauty is way more natural and lovely than ours. Like,
I lean more
um,
towards that. I love the British beauty standards. Like they're so
yes,
lovely.
yes, they're very, and they lean more towards elegance. And I have noticed like the things we really prop up, like we love like big lips and sharp cheekbones and
Giant
giant
boobs and
eyes.
giant
Yeah,
butts and
everything's like big and
giant.
exaggerated. It is. They seem to lean more towards like a lean figure and almost like flat chested, thin lipped, like
Hmm.
everything's like more of
Like
an elegant look. I don't know.
Emma, not Emma
Like
Thompson. You
willowy.
you know the girl from Harry Potter, Hermione. What's her name?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Why can't
Emma
I think of her name?
Watson.
Emma Watson. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. She kind of fell into both beauty standards because her face is so pretty. But yeah, like body, it's kind of the
Well,
ideal.
she doesn't really overdo it with makeup or clothes or
Right.
anything. She's
Right.
very
They're
British.
right about that. I do think Corey and I discuss this all the time. He's like, I hate the current beauty trends. Like he's like all of the fake everything. He's like,
Hmm.
I don't even think it's kind of pretty. I'm like, that's interesting because we do all these things because we think we make ourselves more attractive to men. He's like, not to
Yeah.
me. I always find a real woman more attractive than fake, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting. I love when like the feminist angry women will be like, men don't have to keep up with these beauty standards. Like they just age. And I'm like, you don't have to do anything.
No,
It
right.
drives me nuts when they're
The
like, we
pressure.
have to get Botox and it's not fair. I'm like, no one's forcing your hand.
Exactly. And not just that, but I argue those beauty standards are imposed by women, not
Oh
men.
yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah.
look what the men are
I don't
making us
know
do.
honestly any man who's said that they like the look of Botox. I've never
I have
seen it ever.
never, ever talked to
So
a man who feels that way. Granted, we do run in similar circles. Like, we don't live in LA, and we don't, you know what I
yeah.
mean? We don't live in a big city, neither one of us. But the good old country boys, they don't like it.
Well, and I think a lot of times women are like, you don't know what you like, because guys will be like, I like a woman to look natural. What they mean is they like, glowing skin, not
Less
overpowering
makeup.
makeup. They don't actually mean like a bare face, because like when you show them, they're like, oh, actually, I liked whatever you had going on. So I think that
Sure,
women
like
are
they
kind of
don't.
like, shh, you don't know what you like.
I know. I have
But
discovered though that if you're clean and your hair is nice and feminine, like it's not like, wow, I just woke up and you should love my natural beauty. Most guys really do, at least the ones I know, prefer a lot less makeup, which is funny because I wear
yeah,
quite a bit. Like I love makeup, but I'm
I
like,
do too.
most of them that I've talked to, the less the better. Like, and I'm
Hmm.
like, but so when I look my ugliest, like to me, they're like,
Hmm.
that's what they like.
Yeah,
Like that's really interesting to me. But if it's paired with like a nice outfit and pretty hair, I really do think that the preference is like little to no makeup.
yeah, and I think
So,
that from what I've heard too from guys is they like the whole package, like you were saying, like it's the hair and the outfit and the
yeah,
everything.
you look put
It's not just
together. You
like
don't look
they're not
frumpy.
looking in and being like, oh, your wing is a
Oh,
little too long. Like they're not looking at details. They're just like the whole
no.
thing.
Well, and I had someone tell me one time, like, yeah, you wear very like I like your look. You wear very little makeup. And I was like, I wear a lot of makeup. Like,
Yeah.
not caked on, but I wear a lot of pieces of makeup. And they were like, wait, what? So yeah, and it was a
Yeah.
guy. So I'm like, yeah, you don't know what.
What I go through.
Yeah. Well, like you said, when they say like, I like the natural look, you're pulling it off great. I'm like, this isn't natural even a little bit. So
But
I
thank you for thinking
yeah,
that.
yeah. Anyway, it's funny. Um, yeah, but I think if I was going to pick between British beauty and American beauty, I'd lean more towards British. But personally, I don't find it like stunning the way they seem to. Like the people they put up as like their pretty actresses, I'm like, yeah, she's cute.
We just have
But
different ideals, yeah.
yeah,
I thought they cast Marianne so good. I love Kate Winslet. She can
yes,
also do no wrong
yes.
in my eyes. She's so
Oh,
good.
she's stunning. I think
She's
she's
not just beautiful, she's such a
stunning.
good actress.
Oh yeah. Yep. She's the only reason that I kind of liked Titanic, although I really hate that movie. But
I
she
could not
was,
get into that. I
oh,
watched like
so
20
dumb.
minutes and I was like,
It's so bad. You know
probably the
why?
worst
Because
love story I've ever
Leonardo
seen.
DiCaprio is the worst actor ever. I
Okay.
don't understand. He is the. I need to stop beating her up. I'm not going to beat her up, but
I
he's
know what you're
her
gonna
of the men.
say.
I do not. They keep putting him in all these like sexy roles. He's like the Nicolas Cage like of his
Oh.
time. Like
Nicolas
so
Cage.
I guess he's in some movies I haven't seen because they're really intense, and he's really good in that. And in like these R-rated movies that are way more adult, I think that's where he shines. And then you put him in something that's a little more cheesy writing, and I'm like, because he was in
That was like
Three
his first
Musketeers.
role though.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
Titanic, wasn't it? I'm
Maybe.
looking it up.
Let me look. Have you seen Three Musketeers?
I think I started it.
Oh, he's
Again, I
so
couldn't get into it.
bad. That's because of him.
Was Leonardo. Every time I would just Leonardo da Vinci. Such a cool name.
Yeah, he played like an abused kid in a really sad movie. Um, what was that called? I saw that advertised and it looked
Yeah, it
horrible.
was his first movie, Titanic.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, well.
No, he was like 10 when he
Oh,
did
it's
his
not.
first
It's
movie.
not. Sorry, don't listen to me.
So he's in a movie where his dad is super
Oh,
abusive.
the Gilbert Grape thing.
I don't know,
What's
but I saw it advertised like a commercial thing. What is that called? A trailer for it.
uh-huh.
He looked amazing in it. Like he looked like he did an incredible job. So sometimes these child actors will do really well in those roles, and they're like, "You're an actor. Let's put you in everything." Because I noticed that with Drew Barrymore too. I'm like,
Okay.
She's okay."
I
Well,
don't
she was a
understand
good
Drew
child
Barrymore.
actress. She was
Okay,
in E.T. Did you ever see her in that?
I don't remember her, so that's why I'm like, why is everyone like amazing in ET? I'm like, she was
Well,
just
she
there,
was
like she wasn't like
darling. No, she was
okay,
really cute. Like, I
okay.
think when they're really instinctive as children, you're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Because some kids are terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
they are.
hard to find a really good child actress.
Yeah,
Honestly, kind of the same with Emma Watson. You're like, wow, like, look at how into this she is. It's so cute when she's 11. And then when
yeah.
she's 15, you're like, wah, wah, wah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Same with the
So I,
Daniel Radcliffe. Oh, that guy.
yeah,
He was
that was,
so okay. I've been into the Harry Potters with my girls. We watched the
yeah,
first two, and he
he's
was
back.
so cute. Him and Ron and Hermione, like they were
Yeah,
so perfectly casted. I would have
yeah,
done the exact same thing. And then they
right.
all grew up, and I was like, none of them are good. I think
Yeah.
Ron kind of kept it together, but the other two, I was like, geez, they're not
Yeah.
good anymore.
It'd be really hard to cast them. I think their mistake there was putting all raw actors in that role. I'm like, you probably could have found some actors like Malfoy who had been in it for a while. It's
What do you
just
mean
so
raw
you
actors?
they were brand new, like that was their first movie. I'm pretty
Oh, I
sure.
see.
Yeah,
Well, they're
and
also little, I'm sure, but yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, so was Malfoy, but that was his like fifth
He did
movie. I mean,
okay though. I mean, he grew up and then he didn't do as good. Again,
that's
same with the
true.
other
I guess he
ones.
wasn't amazing.
He was
Maybe the
okay.
writing was just bad because I didn't feel
I
like
don't.
anyone's
Yeah.
really stood out.
Okay. I think that
McGonagall was good.
when they switched directors
Records.
after the third one, I think is when they did that. It
I thought
did take a
everyone.
turn and it got weird. And I was like, this used
Uh,
to be like the first two were so magical and good
I
and perfect,
know.
and like I wouldn't have changed a thing. And after that, it got they Dumbledore. Oh, that drives me
Yeah,
crazy.
but he died. What are you supposed to do about that?
You're supposed to make the new one look somewhat like the old one. They like painted his nails and like his hair was darker. He looked like 20 years younger and he had a completely different personality. And it looked
Yeah.
like a completely different person. I was so annoyed.
Yeah.
I was like, at least make him look like Dumbledore. Oh, drove me
He
crazy.
got trashed online for his performance. Everyone was so mad.
Because he
Yeah.
did so bad.
He did so bad. It would have been really cool if they had seamlessly transferred. Like, we're gonna do your hair and everything the exact same way, and then I just want you to copy his mannerisms and do your
Right?
best to like become
I'm
him.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
They
I
could
mean,
have
I
done
know
that.
every actor's got their interpretation. He's not going to be exactly the same, but at least make him look the same. Like his
You
everything
know,
was like theatrical and dramatic, and I was like, that's not even Dumbledore's character at all.
no.
Anyway, I
Yeah,
don't.
and he'd get angry and explosive. It was
Ugh,
super weird.
it's
You
weird.
know what is annoying about that to me though? You know, every actor I think does like this is their craft. They want to stand out and be noted for their performance. I
Yeah,
think he would have gotten so much credit for doing exactly what the old actor did. Like, this guy died, I'm gonna try to like honor his memory by being as close to him as I possibly
yeah,
can. I think everyone would have been like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing,"
yeah, yeah.
Um, if everyone had been like, "Wait, that's two different actors," that would have been really good acting, and I think would have made
Yes,
him stand
yes,
out more than
yes.
being like, "I'm gonna put my
I
own stamp on
I
this." It was
agree.
so
I agree.
yeah. So the first two films were directed by the same person. Then the
Yes,
third film had its own director, which I thought
hmm
the third one did have a different flavor. I didn't like
it
it
did.
quite as much
That's when
as
they
the.
changed Dumbledore, and the writing was a little different. It was just like,
Well, I'm like, in the book, Hermione didn't punch Malfoy in the face, did she? Maybe she did.
I'm about to. I read it with my kids right now, so I'll find out. I can't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, there was some weird stuff. Anyway, maybe she does, but I didn't really like how they depicted that. I was like,
Yeah,
that didn't look good. Um, and then the fourth one had its own, and then the last four had its own. So it was
yeah.
weird. It's like they just like
That
cycling through
makes sense
directors.
actually. That the last four had their own. There was like, yeah, the last four I really disliked. They were
I
like,
disliked a lot.
they would do things like, they would get one funny line from the book, which the writing is in the book. I don't understand that. I'm like,
The
it's done for
film,
you.
the script was bad. I didn't think
I'm like, just use
the
the book.
screenwriting
I
was
don't get
good.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's different, but I just was like that. Use J.K. Rowling's. When in doubt, go back to hers.
Yeah.
This is bad, but like there would be parts where they would take lines from the book and then they would really focus on it because it was like funny, but the comedic timing was completely off. So they'd have like scenes with
Yes.
Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and Hermione would be like, just because you've got the emotional range of a teaspoon, Ronald, and then she'd be like, like this fake
It
Hermione laugh,
was
and
so
it would
bad.
just be like awkward, and like no one was.
Oh,
It just was so bad. I was
it
like,
was
what is
so
this?
awkward. All of the transitions between lines and scenes,
It
and
was weird.
there was no chemistry between anyone on stage.
No.
There was even a scene in the third or fourth one, fifth one, I don't know, where Trelawney gets kicked out of the school, and it's like supposed to be really dramatic and emotional,
Yeah.
but kind of funny because it's
Yeah.
Trelawney. Emma Thompson couldn't even pull off the writing and the directing.
Yeah.
That's how bad it
Yeah.
was.
It
Like,
was bad.
she was sitting there stumbling over her suitcases and trying to look sad and
Yeah.
stuff, and I was like, why does this feel like Emma Thompson is a terrible actress?
It's
I'm like, if
probably the
you
writing.
have to be a terrible director if that's what's going on, because she's
Yeah.
amazing, and that whole scene was so cringy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
That
was well cast in some ways. Like, Umbridge was good,
yeah, she did do good.
Trelawney was good, McGonagall was good, the first Dumbledore was good, Snape was good. They
Ooh,
had
you know
some.
what? I had this thought the other day. I was like, sorry to interrupt you. I didn't mean to do
No,
that.
yeah, I was
Okay.
just.
I gotta stop doing that.
You
my
know that I will just go blah, 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 blah. You just have
my
to
girls were
interrupt.
listening to us talk on the phone and they're like, why do you always like they always say erupt each other? And I was like, I don't
Because
know.
we're sisters. We
It's
erupt
probably
each
not a
other.
good habit. Anyway, but I had this thought. I was watching the second one, and I was like, you know what they should have done for Gilderoy? Because it always bugged me that they made him not handsome when he was supposed to be
I know.
incredibly
I think he
handsome.
was British handsome. I think that's why.
Anyway, but they need to fix their handsomeness.
They need to fix their standards.
But who they should have cast was, I was thinking if they had done, you know that Finis from uh Kill
Hunger
People,
Games?
Mockingbird, Hunger
Fin-
Games. Yeah. Do you know who I'm
Finnick.
talking about? Finnick. Yeah,
Yeah.
Finnick. I'm like, if they put
He's
him,
too young. Way too
okay,
young.
but he wasn't supposed to be like 19, but he was supposed to be, I don't know, maybe young 30s or something. And
Right.
like, so if he like did him now, because now he's like older,
Okay.
and he
Someone
has a
like him or him.
beautiful, yeah,
Yes.
like him, but like
Yeah.
someone that you're like, oh my gosh, you are a beautiful human. Then you could get on board with
Yes.
all these witches being like, oh, I love him, and like,
Yes.
and then it would make it funnier when he was an idiot because it was kind of a surprise of this guy is like so put together and beautiful to look at, and then you're kind
Yes.
of you comes together like he's really stupid.
It's a
So
good
anyway,
point.
I was like, it would have been so good if they had someone like
Yeah.
really handsome in there, but
Yeah. It would have been more fun to hate him
anyway.
if he was really
Exactly.
good looking. I feel
Exactly.
like in film they're almost afraid of that. Like if we put him make them too handsome, everyone will just love them, and that's not what we want. But
But
I'm
if you're a
like,
good enough actor, it's perfect
yes,
and
yes. And
funny.
if the writing's good enough, it makes it way better.
Yeah.
If the beautiful person's the one that you don't like at the end,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I agree with you. I thought Finnick would have been a much better, not Gale, who's the one that he goes against, who's his
Oh
love rival?
yeah. The other one, PETA.
PETA. Because then you would have been like, okay, I understand the dilemma here.
The moral qualm.
Yeah, so everyone trashed poor PETA, and they're like, who would
I
choose him over
know.
Gale? He's so ugly. He's not ugly at all. He's a really handsome kid. He's
Yeah.
not a good actor. He's not a good
No.
actor.
Okay, he was
But
another child actor that grew up because he
I
was
know.
amazing in Bridge to
I know.
Terabithia. I just watched that and I was like,
Yep.
it made me cry. He reminded me of
Yeah.
Matt, my little brother, and I love Matt. And like,
Oh.
he just was quiet and like colored his shoes because he was poor and like, I was like, oh, it's my little Matt. And like, I just loved him. He was so
Yeah.
cute. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, in Hunger Games, I was like, didn't,
Yeah, he just didn't make a good love interest. Maybe that wasn't his role because maybe
yeah.
he could have done better. But I will say that I watched all the Hunger Games and I was like, oh, his acting. I'm positive he got that feedback because people were so mean. He probably like had to deal with that on a mental level.
I
And
know.
but
People are so
then
mean for men that are short too. Like we should talk about like people are so mean. I'm
it's
like
weird, huh? They just
it's like
trash him.
I know, it's
I
like
guess we
equivalent to like a girl. What's what equivalent to? I don't know.
a girl
Um
being overweight, maybe like people
maybe,
just like
yeah.
think it's free reign to just say
Just
awful
be
things.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
I do think though. I was just thinking about this from watching our first episode. We were like trashing Anne Hathaway. I was more than you, but I was like, I get really frustrated when what I'm frustrated with more is the world being like she's good, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I just don't agree with you. Stop saying that. Stop saying she's
Uh
good.
there's this like
But she herself like it's not. Mom sent me an interview of her after we did
mhm.
our
Mhm.
because she's like Anne Hathaway has some class. Like you guys kind of trashed her. Maybe you
You
shouldn't
guys
have. And I was like, it's
shh.
true. She actually does have more class than some in Hollywood, I think. And she is very beautiful. So I was like, yeah, I just get frustrated with the difference between what everyone is seeing and what I'm seeing. I'm like, I don't understand why I'm on the outside of this. Like, I'm going crazy. So I directed that all at her and I'm like, that's not really fair. That's not nice. There
Well,
are
I
people who
think I
think
have a
she's a great
new
actress.
respect for her because I saw her in that movie. I've never seen her
Yeah.
act so well. I was like, holy crap, she actually has skills. I didn't know. Weird.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's the same with Peeta later in the Hunger Games when he had to be crazy. Do you know how he had to act like the Capitol had like brainwashed him? And
oh yeah, I
he
kind of
was
forgot that.
good.
Yeah.
He was really good. And then he
He just
kind of
wasn't supposed
like
to be like a serious love interest, maybe.
yes, he wasn't supposed to be suave. I don't know.
Like Gail,
I,
yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna seduce you. He looked like her little brother like kissing her. You're
Yeah.
just like, "Ooh, this feels really weird."
There wasn't chemistry either because I feel like with acting, if you have chemistry, it's kind of like, oh, it's kind of cute. It works because they work,
Yeah.
you know? But
Yeah.
they didn't have that, so it just wasn't working.
No. No. Anyway, I think it was just not a great role for him, which means he's not an amazing actor, but he's probably better than that displayed him to
Yeah,
be.
it sucks
And
to be in one of those crazy popular movies after
yeah,
a
people
teen book
just
because oh
trash
my
you if you don't work.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to be perfect or you just get beat up. I'm like,
it's
holy crap.
true.
Those Twilight
You,
actors still won't ever live it down, ever. It's so
it's kind of sad, but at the same time,
sad. Do better. I love when people say that.
yay, but
I love
really
when
do
like
better. Oh, that was so
I love that
bad.
like I love that's like the
Ugh.
Facebook I don't know, reprimand. People will be like, "What should I say here? What could be original and like move people? Do better."
Do
I'm
better.
like, "Oh,
Educate yourself.
oh my god!" gosh, it drives me crazy.
I
Like,
know.
you do better. Say something else.
I know. If you're going to Facebook to lecture at all, though, we have a problem, you know? So.
Talk about Facebook rants makes me want to rant. I can't handle them. This is where I get my rants out, though. So who am I to judge?
I was gonna say, like watching us back, I'm like, oh, we're not very palatable. We just say really weird stuff. We even went off on Trump, and I was like, on our first one, and that was like 6 weeks ago or something. And granted, at the time, that was my honest opinion. But I'm like,
Yeah.
honestly, in 6 weeks, my opinion's changed a lot. I have a
A
lot of
lot's
respect for what
happened.
he's done. I know.
I think he was that was
Yeah.
pre him getting shot. Maybe not.
Yeah, it
No, maybe it wasn't.
was.
But like
Yeah,
that
let's see.
changed his
Yeah, it was. No,
a
it
big
was.
deal for me. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, like anyone who can respond that way is kind of amazing.
It was pretty cool.
Him
Yeah.
picking his team made me change his thought
Yes.
about him because he's
Yes.
amazing at picking his team. Holy
Yep.
crap! And him not being afraid of doing a 3-hour interview days before the election. I know there's a lot of things that change. So I mean, I'm not on the worshiping Trump train. There's a lot of YouTube shorts that'll come out and they're like, people want us to hate this man, and they'll show him like doing politician
like
stuff,
kissing
like kissing babies, exactly. And I'm like, everybody does this. This doesn't make he's like all of a sudden an amazing person.
Look at
but
him.
I do think he's a good leader, and I'm like, yeah,
I do too.
kind of on board.
I'm just so grateful that he is where he is and that he's strong enough to do it. That I felt bad looking back at that podcast. I was like, he's doing something really amazing for our country. And there was those who would argue that he's really enjoying the attention and stuff, but I actually think he loves the country and that's what's motivating him. So
I think so too.
Yeah. Anyway, I've softened quite a bit towards him since this election. I'm like, I'm impressed with a lot of what I've seen and learned. So.
Yeah. Well, and he's very old. He's kind of past the point of like, I need to be in the spotlight. I'm like, I think he's just old and wants to like fix stuff.
Yeah, I think and it sounds like he's going to. So anyway, it was just funny. I was looking back and I was like, it's good. I do kind of like that we just say what we think in the moment. We're not like overly edited and overly careful. But I'm like, I do think it's important too to go back and be like, no, I was wrong about that. I just was. I think I have a lot more respect for him than I did originally. So anyway.
So can I go off on a random rant? Speaking
of
ranting,
on a tangent.
Okay, I'm gonna tangent. Okay, we're supposed to be talking about sensibility, but
we always do this.
We're
we'll
not.
Just stop listening.
That way we can title it something, but talk about it for like 15 minutes.
We got our 5 minutes in. Woo!
Now we have a title. Every time AI tries to summarize our podcast, it's so funny. They'll be like feminism and politics and baby toys, and I'm like, what?
And Harry Potter. Wait, what?
Like, this is what you should title it according to AI, and I'm like,
two unqualified sisters talk about random crap for 3 hours. Good summary.
Yep.
Anyway, that's funny.
Okay, so here's what it is that is bugging me. Oh no.
What?
Oh,
are your groceries here already?
No, no, not yet. Nothing.
Why don't you share with the whole class, Valerie?
Okay. I'm supposed to go to a girls' brunch tomorrow, I think, of all days. Oh, I have it in my phone. Okay, we're good. And I just forgot. And I never forget things like that because I never get out of the house. Yeah, anyway.
Here's the question. How come brunch is like a ladies' time of day, but dinner or...
I think, okay, this is sexist and people are going to be like,
lunch.
Oh,
lunch
that's
seems
sexist.
Like a bro thing, and brunch seems like a girl thing.
I think, at least for like the moms that I interact with, they feel the need to be home during main meal times because they typically prepare
that
them.
Makes more sense.
And so they're like, my kids need me at lunch, so we have to go for. Personally, I don't care. Like, I'm like, my husband can do it, but I just think that's probably what happens.
No, that makes more sense because I was like, you never ever hear dudes being like, let us go to brunch together.
Like, why would we do that? Let's just go eat lunch.
That makes more sense though. Well, and mom kind of tends to be the hub of the home, you know.
Yeah,
she's got
for sure.
That's funny. It's like, if Corey ever said I'm going to brunch, I'd be like,
okay.
Alrighty then.
Anyway, so I was going to say something rude, but I'm not going to. Okay,
you're going to tangent about brunch.
Yeah, so here it is. So this guy on YouTube, I should find out who he is because he's so annoying. Why did he annoy me so much? Okay, he was like on our side or whatever, like he's like conservative, but he's so
because he was a traitor. That's why. That's why you got
No,
annoyed.
he wasn't a traitor. He was just annoying. I didn't like anything about him. Okay, I think what made me so mad was like his video was complete clickbait, and
I don't like that
and it
either.
got me, and I totally clicked on it, and I can't find the video now.
It's like starting off a relationship by lying to someone's face, you know?
Yeah,
Because I'm
exactly.
like, why would
I didn't
you
know
do
who he
that?
was. I didn't
Now I
know who he
don't trust
was,
you.
and it was a
Yeah.
complete lie. Okay, his name is Benny Johnson. I should already know he's an idiot by that kind of name. Just kidding.
I
Oh,
would have
I'm kidding. Okay,
nothing
sorry.
wrong with
Ah,
Benny,
make it stop.
Benny boy.
Okay, but his
I should
face
know
is
he was
just
an idiot with that kind
his
of name.
face is
To
just
all those Bennies
punchable.
out there, I
I don't like him.
apologize.
I shouldn't make judgments so vast in one video, but from the one video I saw, it just really bothered me. Anyway, the video is
I don't
called
look him.
Taylor Swift has unhinged meltdown after election, and he has a picture of Taylor Swift with like smeared mascara, and like if there's anything that I love, there's nothing I love more than watching the left meltdown after the election.
Yes, it
It's become like
it's
a new
quite fun.
hobby of mine.
Yeah.
And so I was like, ooh, yeah, I'm like totally clicking on that. And I
Yeah.
actually like Taylor Swift, but I was like, I want to see her meltdown. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
And so I watched the whole video, and it probably took me like maybe 10 minutes after the video to put it together that she didn't melt down at all. She didn't say one thing, like
He
nothing.
totally lied. She was
He
very
totally
classy.
lied.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that it's not like he took something she said and twisted it. She literally said nothing. She endorsed Kamala, which I'm like, whatever, they all do.
Sure.
And that's it. And then he pulls all these like he's like, and her boyfriend is friends with Patrick Mahomes, whose mom voted for Trump. So that means
That's a great line.
That means that her boyfriend probably voted for Trump, which means they're probably not going to last, and she should not say anything because she's stupid. And I was like, she didn't say anything. Like, I was so confused.
Keep your mouth shut, Taylor. Quit melting down. She's like, I didn't say anything.
Anyway, and they're like, and he like
does
all these things, and and the other reason he annoyed me is he had this like girl in this bikini with these giant boobs that said like Trump 2024 on each boob or whatever, and he had her like on the screen right here like as a video that he was gonna click, but he had her there for like a good 10 minutes like just to like, this is coming, don't worry, I got this for you, like as a present. And I was like, I hate you, like I really don't like you.
I brought you giant boobies.
Oh, it was just so cheap. Like everything he did was so cheap, and it just like hit me interesting that I was like, okay, he's on our side, but he really annoys me.
Well, okay, we could go off on that.
Okay,
because
but sorry, one
true
tiny second because my groceries have arrived. I'm just gonna
Mallory!
Keep all those thoughts right there. Pin it
keep
in
them.
this conversation.
I'm gonna read some Jane Austen quotes while you're gone.
Okay, we could also just edit this out, so it doesn't matter.
It's fine. I hate editing.
Okay, all right. Tell some jokes. I'll be back.
Tell us jokes.
Hey, sorry.
Not you, Mallory. I can't think on the spot. I'm nothing without you. Come back. Okay. I did want to read some great quotes from Sense and Sensibility. We're going to bring it back to that. Maybe.
My hair's like green.
I was trying to save the editing process, and so I'm sitting here talking, and all I can hear is like, go get the groceries. I gotta. And the girl's like, no.
Did you catch any of that? I was like, go get them all and put them on the table, and you can eat whatever you want. They're like,
anytime we podcast or like get distracted like this, the kids really are just little Lord of the Flies. I'm like, yes, watch whatever show you want. Watch two, stop.
Yes.
They're like,
eat marshmallows for breakfast.
We love the podcast.
Yeah, it's always like clean up after a war or something. After I come out of these, I'm like, oh boy, okay,
oh,
it's destroyed. Boy, everyone's crying. Everyone's poopy.
Oh yeah. It's a good indicator what life would be like without us. Like,
oh my gosh. Yeah, if you ever want to like pat yourself on the back, just be sick for like a day. We had a sick day the other week, and I was like, holy crap, I do a lot.
I do a lot. No wonder I'm exhausted at the end of the day.
I'm amazing.
Yeah. Just kidding. All moms out there, pat yourself on the back.
Just give yourself a hug, as the yoga instructors would say. Anyway,
center yourself into your greatness. I don't know. I always hear them. I'm like, what are you talking about?
They like say everything and nothing. I'm like, oh, you just said nothing.
Hey, you know what they remind me of though?
That has more bottle.
Ka-ching! Go out! I love you.
Can I have one? Two bottles of Jackson?
No. Sorry. That's Ellie.
Touchy.
Yeah, that's her like thing. So she does that.
That's
She's like,
hilarious.
Jackson has new bottles.
Yes, he does. I bought them. Go out.
Now
That's so
go out.
cute.
The store doesn't lock, which is really messed up. That's why I chose this room. So anyway, sorry.
That is annoying. You need to get a deadbolt on it. No.
You can go ahead and say what you were going to say.
No, I was just gonna fill in time. So you were gonna talk about
No, you were about to go on a rant, and I said pin this conversation because I was talking about old Benny boy. I should have named him by name. Okay, I don't know him. I'm sure he's a child of God.
I'm sure he is.
I'm not gonna help you. Go out. Goodness gracious.
You will
We're gonna watch my patience slowly wane.
Oh yeah. My little darlings, 1 second. Get out of here! I'll go kick your butt.
Anyway,
I remember our old podcast. You had to be like, so Nat, there are some times when your kids will come in, and I can hear you yelling at them on the other side. It sounds a little trashy.
I don't care.
I'm like, I will work on that. I take my headphones off and assume
if you want to talk about unhinged meltdowns, listen to our earlier
podcast. Okay, for real. Okay. I don't know that we're ever gonna be normal. These are all weird. We're just weird. I was gonna say about like, you know, everyone's like leftist meltdowns. This is hilarious. It is kind of funny to watch grown people throw fits. It's funny.
I know.
But I will say that if Kamala had won, every single right winger would be like, I'm moving. This is ridiculous. The election's
rigged.
They cheated. This is he inherited the election or the campaign from someone else. Like all the things they say that everyone's like, what babies, what bad sports. I'm like, are you serious? Like if this was us, people would literally be moving. They'd be out of this country. Yeah. So, and you know, I'm on that train, rightfully so. She would have run it into the ground. But I'm like, it's just funny when people are like, good thing we're not like that. And I'm like, yes, we are. We're the exact same. Okay,
but did you see that video I sent you of like the compilation? Oh my gosh. Their like number one strategy was to be abstinent for the next 4 years.
Oh my gosh, I love that. They're getting so much crap for it.
It's like a trend. Like it's like a hashtag 4-year. I don't remember what the thing is.
Oh,
but
it's
like,
amazing.
I was like, that is so beautiful. Thank you for being abstinent for 4 years.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for being who you are and providing us with so much entertainment. There's so much to that. Good. There's so much you could go to.
One of the girls was like, you could tell she thought she was hot. And she was like, good luck getting laid. Like as if like her not you know, participating
putting
in this,
herself
like,
out there.
In this, one night stand culture. She's like punishing the world, and I'm like, you are hurting literally no one but yourself.
Yeah.
because like I'm sure those guys that like get laid with her don't care about her. It sounds like from the language she's using. So I'm like, I love that that's like their punishment.
That's her punishment. Yeah, like don't threaten all of us with a good time. Please stop sleeping around. Please stop procreating. We don't want.
And they're like actually taking accountability for what you should take accountability for. They're like, if I can't get an abortion, I'm not going to sleep around. See how you like that? And I'm like, okay.
Thank you. That's what we've been saying for all these years. We appreciate you picking up on it.
It's so funny. And like they'll do the same thing. There was a feminist movement a while ago that it's kind of one of those that like came back and they're like, oh, maybe that's like not working how we want it to. They were like, we're not going to dress for the male gaze. We're going to be modest. And I was like, okay.
That would be really great. Thank you. You're going to look like a Christian now.
Like doing it in anger. Like, now. I'll show them.
Now we're going to go to church, dress modestly, and stop sleeping around. See how you like that.
Oh, so funny to me. I just love when they do it out of anger. Like,
it is really funny. I'm like, it's like a little kid. You know when little kids are like, then I'm not eating, and you're like,
yes, you're like,
cool. Okay. See you when you're hungry.
Come back to me when you want food.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I gave you a week before you're sleeping with someone, but
I know it's immature, but I can't help it. It's so delightful
they're
to watch them meltdown.
They're so funny. The one that I sent you of the girl we talked about, this last one, who was like, "I'm gonna wake up a slave." I died.
Oh my god!
It's like that's the best thing I've ever heard.
That's the best line I've heard the whole election.
That one was so good. Did you ever watch the one I sent you of the girl like grabbing her steering wheel, the new like meltdown girl?
Yes.
Oh
Well,
my
there's been a lot
gosh.
of people doing that. I think they're all trying to kind
Yeah,
of get attention in that way,
I'm sure. I mean, she
but
went
I'm like,
viral for it.
one of them was like, 10 out of 10 highly recommend going to somewhere quiet and just screaming. And she like goes in this forest like after a run, and she's like, like screams. It wasn't even like, it was like a poorly acted, aggravated
Yes.
scream. So
Oh,
it's
that's
funny.
exactly how. That's a great way to put it. We
Oh.
put like filming powers into the hands of everybody. So now we get all this like bad acting. You're just like,
Oh, so funny.
oh,
It's just so
thank you.
funny. I can't help it. It's hilarious.
My
Anyway.
favorite ones are when they put it up on like the dashboard and just like cry to the camera. I don't know
Yeah.
why those ones make me weep so much, but I'm like everything that went into that, I just can't help but think of the whole time, and it makes me laugh.
Watching people just like, like
Throw
cry on
fits,
camera,
yeah,
I can't
yeah.
help it. It makes me laugh so
Oh,
much.
it's
It's so
so
mean. I know
funny.
it's mean, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I
No,
shouldn't be
it's
laughing at
not.
your
That's such
pain.
a weird thing to do. Like, don't go to social media to grieve. That's
Oh,
so random.
it is
Yeah.
weird. It is weird. They're like, I really trust you viewers. I'm like, well, you shouldn't. You don't know anything about me. I'm judging you
Well,
a lot,
and
so
yeah,
trust me.
like these viewers are trashing you. What are you talking about?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird. It's a
It's
weird
just an
life we
attention
live in.
thing, but yeah.
Um, anyway, I wondered what I was wanting to talk about, like celebrities endorsing politicians,
Yeah.
because I was thinking about it, and I was like, I actually do think it's pretty dumb when they endorse, like Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala, like probably did nothing as far as people's votes being swayed.
This time
Um,
it didn't. It might have in a different election.
I feel like when you're somebody that's kind of on the fence, like Joe Rogan,
Yes.
it makes a lot of difference.
It's
I
not
was
really
trying
I
to,
doubt.
I
Oh,
was
like Joe
trying to,
Rogan's endorsement
yeah,
mattered.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because he
But
was,
that's because people respect his opinion.
well, that's what I wonder. There's a lot of people that respect her opinion. I don't. I mean,
I
politically,
doubt they respect her
but
opinion, do they?
I don't know.
No.
People are
I
weird
mean,
about Taylor Swift.
I know they are, but this is like I mean, this is a good demonstration that they don't respect her opinion because she's like, I'm for Kamala, and everyone, like even her fans, were like, yeah, we don't really believe you. Like, this is what you all do. Yeah.
Yeah. But this guy was kind of like, celebrities should never talk about their endorsements. It's stupid. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I think, because I was like, yeah, I agree. But then I was like, well, I was glad when
Right.
Elon endorsed, and
Exactly.
he's like pretty much a celebrity. He's not a
He's a
politician. He's
public
very
figure.
smart
Yeah.
though. So I'm like, I don't know.
Joe
It's not.
Rogan, same thing, but they're more involved in politics than celebrities.
Yeah, and
I
it's
yeah.
not that she's not smart. She has her craft that she's good at. I just am like, you're not a politician, so
I don't think that's a problem because that's like no one's allowed an opinion unless you're versed in
right,
politics. And
right.
that's not really true. You're
Yeah.
allowed to decide. I think what's annoying is they're using their platform that they gained off of something entirely different, creativity,
Right.
to sway a political movement. I think that the times that it's frustrating is when people really are on the fence. They're like, I just do not know which one I'm gonna pick. Then someone
But
like Taylor Swift being like, well, this is why I like Kamala, really might sway some of her fans who look up to her or whatever. In
yeah, I
this
think
case,
it
it
would
was so
sway like
interesting.
someone really young. I can't imagine it would sway anybody past 25. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
you would think people are really interesting, but I do think that it's a good. The way the election turned out was a good demonstration of just how awful Kamala's personality was. Like, if she couldn't have been more fake and yucky, that if she
yeah,
tried, like
yeah.
everything about her, the way she expressed herself, the way she didn't express herself, when she wouldn't show up for interviews, when she'd put people down and then do her evil laugh, and when she was just
Well,
like nobody liked her.
no,
Everyone
I
felt
know.
like she was really creepy and
Well, what's
weird.
interesting is like we love Trump because he's not a politician, but I'm like, it could be argued that Kamala's not a politician because she did things horribly the
Oh
politicians should not
yeah.
do. Like
He's way more of a politician than she
yeah,
is.
like she did, like she had. So there's this rally where people were being like, Jesus is Lord, Jesus is King, which I don't understand that. I don't. Maybe that might be like a different Christian culture I don't get, but anyway, whatever. They were just like Jesus, and she was like, I think you're at the wrong rally, and like everyone kind of like, ha, 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 but also like 50% America believes in God, so I don't know why I said
Right. Like, are you making fun of us? Nobody
yeah,
knew
and
that
she
was
was
in
like, ha
effect.
ha ha, her like evil laugh, and everyone's like, Okay. Anyway, I just feel
Yeah.
like if you were smart, you wouldn't do that, and she's just not very smart.
Her
So
jokes didn't land, but I don't think she has a great developed sense of humor though. She
yeah,
doesn't strike me as somebody who's very humorous. She didn't come across as very intelligent at all.
yeah.
Trump, you could argue, isn't either, but he's very wily and instinctive, and he's got good intuition. So I was like, that's a form of intelligence. You know, he's good at finding the right people and understanding relationships. And there's some things there. I don't know where her intelligence lies. Like, in what area does her intelligence come out?
She might
I
be.
really don't know. It wasn't displayed well in
I don't know either.
this race.
There was
It's
this like
possible that it's there and you just can't see it, but I really don't know where her expertise is.
Yeah. Ben Stiller had come out and was like, I just think we should vote for Kamala because she's
I'm an
black
actor.
and she's also Indian or something. Is she? I don't know what race.
Yeah, she's black Indian, I think.
Indian
Indian
anyway.
American.
And he was
yeah.
like, and I wish I was black. And like, anyway, and it was just like that. He was like, he's a comedian, so I think he's trying to be funny. I don't really know. Anyway, but I was
weird.
like, it was weird. And anyway, people were just like ripping it to shreds because they're like, you have not said any of her qualifications. Literally everything you said was her race, which is the reason people
I watched
were like,
that video. It was
like
funny.
voting for her. And what's her name? Jillian Michaels. Jillian Michaels? Is that it? Jillian Michaels?
Jillian, I think.
Anyway, she kind of like ripped him up. She was funny. She was just like, he literally didn't mention anything but her race and her gender. So yay, Kamala. Cracked me up.
Who is Jillian Michaels? Is she a Fox News anchor?
Just have a few. Okay, those are for Dad. Okay. Anyway, no, she's that she used to be the fitness.
She's the Biggest Loser coach.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
I thought that was funny. I was like, she's
That
like not even a politician. She's like, you're an idiot.
I'm like, oh boy. Okay, that video was bad. Anyone who's watching this, you should go watch Ben Stiller try to promote Kamala.
That's weird.
You can't tell if it's parody or not. That's how bad it is. You're like, is he joking? Yeah.
Well, I love him, but I was like, that was dumb. Why did you do that?
Yeah. I wonder what the like financial benefit is to a lot of them that have come out and endorsed her, because did you know that Beyonce got paid $10 million to appear at that rally? She didn't show up because she really wanted Kamala to win. She was paid like 10 million bucks to speak for 3 minutes, and she didn't even sing. So I'm like, I wonder how many of them have been paid to just say like, hey, if you'll just get on and endorse them, it's easy money, endorse her. So, and I'm not saying that that's the only side that does that or that's dirty. I'm sure that happens on both sides, but that was fascinating because it was made to appear that Beyonce just really wanted Kamala to win, and I'm like, $10 million later, we're kind of questioning your motives, It
reminds me of I'm reading Harry Potter, like I said to the girls, and Dudley, he like lets his aunt kiss him and be like, "Oh, you got so big and cute," and then like he's crumpling a $20 bill in his hand afterwards, And I'm like,
yeah. Little bit of monetary motivation there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, even for someone as rich as Beyonce, $10 million doesn't hurt, So
yeah,
for 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'd show up. No, just kidding. I wouldn't. Not for Kamala. I can't be bought.
That's how bad it is. Not even for 10 million. What is your price, Mal? Would you do it? Would you endorse her for any money?
Let me think about that. No, I wouldn't.
No.
I have to think though for a minute. I couldn't. Not for someone like her. If she were more
Billions with a B.
No. If she were if it didn't have such an impact on our country, like if it was like she's running for like her little county, I'd be like, sure.
I know.
Like it affects the whole country. I'm like, no.
Oh, I know. And for the future too. Would you endorse her for $10 million if you knew that your endorsement wasn't going to do a thing? If you're like, oh, this is going to do nothing.
No.
But I'll do it. No. I know, right? Because it just feels icky. That's how icky she is.
Well, then you'd have to just live with that 10 million. You'd be like, I earned this very unhonestly, dishonestly.
Yeah. So I watched this video that talked about how the combined followers of all the people who endorsed Kamala are in the billions, which granted, many of those might not live in the United States or whatever, But all together, everyone who came out publicly and endorsed her collectively, they have billions of followers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, that's how bad she was as a candidate, because all of those endorsements did not sway the
Yeah.
millions who were voting. And again, I don't know what those numbers exactly are, but
Yeah.
even if they reached 3 million people, like, it didn't do anything. That's how much people don't like her. She has a terrible personality.
One of my favorite reactions was on The View, and this black lady, I don't know who she was, but she was like,
Is she the really pretty one, Sunny, with the long hair?
They're all pretty. I don't know.
Not all of them. I don't think Whoopi's pretty.
That is a point that is made. Yeah, I didn't really know she was on The View, so that doesn't count. She is pretty, but I don't know who she is. Anyway, she was like, so after this election, so many people, at least 50%, more than 50%, she was like kind of working through her head the math, have voted for Trump, which means that 50% of America, like, is Republican. We need to self-reflect. That's what she said.
She said that?
I was like,
did she mean herself or America?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I love that, like, the other reactions were like, I guess America's sexist and racist still. I didn't know. And I'm like,
yeah.
And one of them were like, they're threatening to move to Canada, and I was like, do it.
Please do.
Please do it.
So a lot of them have kind of been reeling, because I think they think they're on the most popular side, and when they've said a lot of obnoxious things, and know, like, I shouldn't even say obnoxious, but things that they feel were right on their side or promoted their side or whatever. It is a little bit disconcerting to find that when you care about popular opinion, you're not on the popular side at all. Yeah, I've seen that reaction a few times where people are like, "Oh, like, everyone thinks that? Like, maybe I'm off. Like, why am I? Why?"
I think that's why it was so funny. They're like, "Oh, maybe."
Yeah, seems like
reality isn't what I thought.
Well, and I think many of them, I'm not really accusing her of this because she's pretty outspoken about her politics, but like, many of them probably do make decisions based on what's cool, what is everyone else doing, and so then when it's like, you pick the wrong side, you pick the loser team, they're like, oh crap,
dang it.
It's not just like, oh, that was neck and neck, that was so close. Like, if you voted for her, you were someone who really didn't pick up on how bad she was. You're like, oh.
It was fascinating. I just didn't see that coming, but anyway. I just think I worry about the right going too far, I guess, as far as I don't know, tearing down the left, because I think that video just really bothered me. I was like, I don't know, they're not all good just because they're on the right.
Oh, 100%. That's just gonna be humans.
Yeah, I just was irritated, and like, they're just trying to make them look stupid and bad and not human. And anyway, I'm just like,
they're demonizing them the same way we've been demonized. I think, like, most humans are just kind of the same. We're gonna react similarly, we're gonna throw fits similarly, but when you're on the winning side, it's really easy to gloat and be like, I wouldn't do that. And I'm like, okay. What was I gonna say? Something about I can't remember. I had a good example of that, but totally escaped my mind. Anyway.
It was funny because, like, I actually am a Taylor Swift fan, despite, like, all my friends judging me for that. Like, apparently it's not cool to be like a mom and like Taylor Swift, but I'm like, oh well, I can't help it.
That's not true, because tons of moms like her. So
okay, all the moms I associate with are like, you're an idiot. I'm like, okay, sorry. Anyway, not really. They're not mean. They're not mean. They're just like, you like her. I'm like, well, I mean, I'd go to her concert maybe.
If you gave me a free ticket, I'd cry. Does that mean I like her? No.
Like is a strong word. No, I actually don't listen to any of her music. I'm never like, I'm in the mood for Taylor Swift, unless it's like old stuff for nostalgia's sake. But
yeah, her new stuff's not great.
I'm not really a fan. I think she is a brilliant business person, and I can't help it. I respect that. So I'm like, I think she's
too.
Cool.
I haven't seen anything in her personality yet that I hate.
Horribly dislike. Me neither.
And they're like endorsing Kamala. I'm like, it's
expected. I'm like, it doesn't. Yeah, and I'm like, whatever. And she's, I don't know. She, like, again, she didn't have this giant meltdown. She didn't do anything. But they're trying to paint her as this like stupid, leftist, crazy, you know, I'm like,
Right.
anyway, I don't know. And I couldn't
Yeah.
tell if I was sticking up for her because I'm a fan, but I'm like, I don't think so. I was ready to jump on the like, wow, she's an idiot too train.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
But you're like,
the
nope, that wasn't good
I was like,
evidence.
no,
Yeah.
that was horrible. That was just a
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I can't
so
help but respect her. I feel the same way. Like I don't know, something cool about her. Can't help it.
I know.
Could be we could be
It's
wrong.
fascinating to be in everybody's households when you are a teenager and in your mid 30s. I'm like, that's very
Right.
interesting. Who does that?
Right.
Like my kids are a huge fan. My kids. I'm like,
Yeah.
that never happens when you are that
No. Yeah.
age.
I
So I
mean,
think
yeah.
she's just done something
Not
right,
as
and
a
it's really
single
interesting.
artist, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless
Anyway,
you're really great, which she isn't. That's what's fascinating
right.
about
I
her.
think that's why
Yeah.
she's so
Yeah.
fascinating. I'm like, you're not that
She's
good.
not a Celine Dion, which she did
No.
transcend time.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, yeah, she's amazing. But yeah, Taylor Swift just kind of, I don't know. She hits all of the genres, all of the ages. She's kind of like broken everyone's brains with how no one
I
gets
don't
it.
know. I don't get it, but she's a
I
brilliant
think it's
businesswoman.
because she's discovered that storytelling is powerful. Like people for all of time have rallied around storytellers, and that's what all
Yeah.
of her music is. It's just a
Yeah.
simplistic story, but
Yeah.
you don't really get that in a lot of music. So it's you listen for this, like I'll re-listen and re-listen and re-listen to some of her songs just because the story's fun
Yeah.
to dive into. You can
Yeah.
picture all of it, and it's
Uh-huh.
like I don't know. I think that's her secret. I think anybody who's good at storytelling wins.
Yeah.
It's why J.K. Rowling was so famous when really she's not a brilliant author,
Gosh,
but her
she's borderline
stories.
brilliant though. My gosh, I've been.
She is. She's incredibly creative.
I mean, she's not like, I don't know, Shakespeare or something, but yeah, creative. She reminds me of almost like a Taylor Swift in her books,
That's what I mean.
to where everything ties together, like from the beginning.
Right.
Like there's like
Right.
little tiny
Easter
details
eggs.
that,
Easter eggs. Easter eggs.
yeah, yeah, that tie together uh with later books that I'm like, it's a kind of genius, I think, to be able to do
Yeah.
that. Anyway.
Totally. It totally is. I just think like as far as writing goes, yeah, I would not classify her as one of the greats, but kind of like Taylor, kind of blows your mind how popular she is. You're
Yeah.
like, why? But she
Yeah.
just wrote a really, I don't know, like heartfelt and relatable story. So
Mm-hmm.
then everybody rallies around
I
it.
was thinking about J.K. Rowling too. I'm like, she did such a good job with Harry's character because she had to make him be the hero, but he couldn't be this like egotistical, annoying kid. And so
Right.
she made him go back to the Dursleys every summer to humble him every time. And I was like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
makes him relatable, and
Likeable.
you can believe that he is the hero that he is, because if they're just handed everything and then everyone worships the ground they walk on, it's
That's
hard to
true.
be like, I'm just humble, it's just who I am. I'm like,
Right.
I don't
Right.
know. You
Yeah.
know,
He
so
lives in two realities. One, he's a
yeah,
hero, and the other, he's
it's like
totally
dirt.
hated,
Yeah.
abused. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's a good
So
point.
anyway, I thought
Yeah.
that was really interesting. But
Yeah. She did do a lot of really brilliant things, but
yeah.
anyway, for a children's author, technically, it is strange how popular she is. Same with Taylor Swift. And I'm on that
Yes.
train. I'm just saying, from the outside, especially if you're not a fan, you would be like, why?
Why? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just people love a good story.
Yeah.
What do you call that? Unhampered by politics. There's no ulterior motive but to entertain.
Yeah.
As soon as Taylor starts getting weird about not just telling a story, that's when I stopped liking her. She had this album come out and it was like there's so many like hints in there about how religious people are the worst and they're so judgy, and I was like,
Yeah.
and which is weird because I'm like, most of your fan base are
Yeah.
religious families.
Yeah.
So as soon as she started having an agenda in her music, I was like, it's not interesting
Yeah.
anymore. But when
Well, and
she's
it doesn't
just
really
trying to
tell a
entertain
story
you,
anymore. It's kind of just
right?
like
Well, it
art
does, but it's a
and
snotty story.
religion is awful, and you're like, uh-huh.
Well, it was
I'll
supposed to be
follow
like
your
a
life and have no
I ran away
family and
from
cats.
my religious cult. Yeah, and you're like, okay. This
Mm-hmm.
is no longer relatable because you're painting me as the bad guy since
Yeah.
technically I'm religious. Yeah. So anyway, it was interesting. I'm like, that's not a great move. We might see her downfall if she keeps getting political because
Yes.
At the end of the day, people want to be entertained with purity. No ulterior
Yeah.
motives, but to
I don't
try to
understand.
entertain.
I don't. Yeah, that's what I don't understand is when you are a celebrity and you start putting politics into everything that you do, into your craft, and I'm like, that's not what we pay you for. Like that,
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, like you make music, and as an actor, like you make movies that just do that. Like you were doing good, and that's
Yeah.
what we want to watch and want to see.
Yep.
But we don't want your opinion on politics because that's not what and they're like, oh, I have to speak my truth. I'm like, like I don't have to talk about like I don't know just like
All we do is talk about politics on
I
here. We're like, who would do that?
okay, but I'm not a celebrity, so it's different.
Not yet. Predicting our future right
Oh,
now.
I had this like daydream. I was like, okay, Natty's way crazier than me. She's gonna take this like crazy. And what if I'm like, oh, introvert, don't like it. And Natty's like, but it's fun and let's be famous. And I'm like, but I don't want to. And so then what will we do? We should talk about this right now.
Let's contract this right now. I will respect your wishes. I would never want to push you into that if that made you uncomfortable. There's
I
no amount of
know.
money that would be worth that. I'm like,
I
no.
know. It would be sad though if you were like, we could really go places. And I'm like, I don't want to because I'm
It's
lame.
fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'd actually do given the choice of like serious money. I'm sure I'd try to persuade you, but yeah, if at the end of the day you're like, this is making me miserable, that matters more to me than
Well,
anything else.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Well, and
like
like,
my
it's not
sister.
like I can talk freely if I'm just like chained to the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Like
like, I
forcing
don't
me to come.
know. Yeah, exactly. Like you live too far away from me to be forceful. Well,
I
I
always
could
have
try
these.
to like guilt you or something, but I'm like, I would never do
I
that.
know.
It's only fun because we both love it.
We
You know
want
what I
to.
mean?
I know. I
Yeah.
know. I always have
So
these like dramatic daydreams of like the worst case scenario, and I'm like, gotta prepare for that.
our sister friendship will fall apart because I'm an
It'll
introvert.
all be
No,
my fault. Yeah. Speaking
no.
of introvert extrovert, I did want to go into that with the sense and sensibility
Yeah,
to bring
yeah,
it back, just because I'm like, it is a good contrast of that,
yes.
and you and I grew up similarly. I feel like I could relate to Eleanor's character. At the same time, though, like when I was reading it, my heart really went out to Marianne because I was
Right.
like, I
Because
don't
no
know.
one's truly one side or the other, and they really
Yeah,
painted it
they
that
really
way.
did.
Yeah.
Which I'm like,
Yes.
it's
I
a
like the saying
story,
she.
but
Yeah.
and I think that was kind of her point. Like she was trying to teach a lesson, you know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was interesting. It felt that one was not the sister relationship in that one was not nearly as cute to me as in Pride and Prejudice. Like they
No.
kept saying your feelings matter so much to me. You're the most important thing to me. She kept having little lines in that from Eleanor to Marianne. But the entire time, Eleanor would just like put Marianne down for being who she was. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
I didn't really care for that. I just didn't. It felt like Jane Austen was getting something off her chest in that book. I don't
I
know.
know.
I could be
She's
wrong,
like,
but
my
I was like,
sisters are so annoying.
well, it just like the frustrations of being an introvert.
Yeah.
Again surface. I see this all the time. It's just like I'm the one with good ideas, and everyone's listening to the dramatic one. She's not even mature. That's how it felt, and it was just kind of
Yeah.
like you're not wrong, but at the same time, you're not perfect either. So
Yeah, exactly.
anyway, I don't
And I
know.
kind of felt like that was the point, though. It's like to be temperate is good, and I'm like,
That's true. That's true.
yes,
It is. I think it just felt more like if you're the dramatic crazy one, you need to come down to our level rather than there's a meeting in the middle where I should be a little more expressive of my feelings and you should temper yours a little more. She did try to make
yes,
that point. Like it felt a lot more like an introvert wrote it slamming extroverts.
yes.
Which
I
obviously I
actually
take it
agree.
that way because I'm an extrovert. I was like,
Well, I
oh,
did
this
too,
is
though, and I'm an introvert, and I was like, I related with Eleanor's character a lot, but at the same time, I was
yeah.
like, okay, but it's not like you're like one thing, you know? Like
No.
it's not like I never feel crazy or I want to burst free of,
Right.
whatever. I just it kind of bothered me that she just was like
Or that you
everything.
would act with impropriety if you were in love. Like, I'm just going to go off in a carriage with this guy, even though I shouldn't. Back then
Yeah,
that was very scandalous. I'm like,
yeah.
even an introvert would do that, like
Right,
overcome their own
exactly. Like there's
feelings.
like nothing She was only 19 too, and she was more
Right.
temperate and more put together than her own mother. So I was like, I don't know,
That
just
happens. You do see that,
yeah.
but so it was interesting because I was like, I wonder if I would be more like a Marianne if I had been raised by a really silly mom. Um, her mom wasn't supposed to be silly. She was supposed to be
Kind
very
of though.
passionate
She was
and
supposed to
affectionate,
be very indulgent. They said that
impractical.
a whole bunch of times. They kind of spoiled Marianne, and she was an indulgent mother.
Yes,
And anyway,
yes, yes, but clever. She was supposed to be clever and intelligent.
yeah,
She wasn't.
she
She
wasn't dumb.
wasn't.
Yeah,
No, Jane and Elizabeth's mom. What's her name?
yeah,
Anyway, what is her name? Mrs. Bennett. She wasn't a Mrs. Bennett.
yeah,
But it was interesting because I was like, yeah, I think I benefited in a major way by having a really practical mother because my tendency is to be really dramatic, really indulge my own feelings. And mom was always there to be like, no, that's enough crying. That's
yeah.
enough
And
thinking about the problem. That's enough. Yeah.
I think that's where I had a hard time with the book too, because there were, and in the movie too, there were scenes where, Eleanor would be like drinking her tea and everyone's just bawling their eyes out. I'm like,
That was kind of funny.
that was funny, and I kind of related in a way, but at the same time, I'm like, my mom never let us do that. You know what I mean? Like, we were allowed to
No,
cry.
yeah.
That's not what I mean. But she never let us just be like, I don't know, go mope for hours at a time and
No.
like just give into all your feelings all the time. Even all the extroverts who felt that way, and so it
Yes.
just was like I don't know. It's hard for me to relate, I guess, on that
Yeah, I
point.
think
But
that's what it was. Mom was a really good emotional coach. Like if you were feeling something, she would kind of walk you through it. She'd listen to you. She'd give you practical advice, and then she wouldn't um even really follow up. Did you follow my advice? Did you listen? Did you
no,
do
no,
this?
she didn't.
Nothing. It was just kind of like, here you go. You can take
Yeah,
it or leave it, but
yeah.
if you want to be miserable, keep acting like yourself.
Yeah, I know. Like I would take it
And
personally, but
yeah, her calm response to my crazy really it was very beneficial for me.
yeah.
I think about that a lot. I'm like, she was, I mean, maybe everyone thinks this if they have a good mom, but she was just the mom I needed, like for my
Hmm.
personality and just, I don't know. It was good for me.
Yeah,
Dad
I
too in his
do.
way. Like I needed an emotional parent too, but
Yeah,
anyway.
I do think that where I related a lot to was like the amount that you can stuff is very much. like she was able to stuff her emotions of how she felt about Edward for months, like her sister not even having a clue, and her mom. And I was like, I really
Right.
related to with that, because I'm like,
Okay. Yeah.
the amount that you can stuff as an introvert is a lot, and it's not
Yeah.
healthy. And that's why she like breaks down at the end, and that's where I like really liked it, because I actually had somebody come over to my house, and she's just somebody that I really like in our church, and she was just asking me like, how are you doing? And I just like burst out crying like like I couldn't
Oh,
control myself, and I was like,
yeah.
like couldn't breathe, and that's what
Mm.
happens when you stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff. And she just was like, it's okay. It's like, and I've talked to her a lot. I've never showed any kind of vulnerability or emotion at all.
Right.
And so I think that's what happens when you don't. It's very hard to control, and
Yeah.
yeah, you feel really out of control, which as an introvert who likes to be in control, it's very hard. So I don't agree with this, like, don't feel anything, it's better to just be cool and collected all the time. I'm like, I don't think that's good. I think that it's healthy to
No.
cry and feel things.
We might have
So
missed the point of the book because I know there are critics who've said like the point was to find a balance between the sisters. Like that
yeah,
was the idea. Is the character arc was both of them kind of
yeah.
one became more emotional and one became more in control. But I
Hmm.
didn't really see Eleanor becoming more
No,
emotional. I
me
guess in the
neither.
book, so
Me
I was
neither.
like, more
Yeah,
expressive or whatever.
yeah. And I
So
wish they would have gotten into that, because I think there's a lot of good things that could be done with that. So anyway.
yeah. So I think like both ways, especially if you're someone who doesn't understand one side or the other, one side can be romanticized and one side can be demonized. Like, oh, these
Hmm.
emotional people or oh, these unemotional people. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter. Either way,
Hmm.
if you don't understand it, you're gonna look down on it,
Yeah, yeah.
Um but I think, yeah, it was relatable, sort of, but there was a lot of differences. Obviously, like mom made a huge difference, but also I think just growing up with so much variety and personality in our family, and then you and
Yeah.
I growing up together,
Yeah.
um, there are a lot of times where I'll befriend introverts and they'll be like, oh, like this is really hard for me, or I don't really like this. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like my sister always tells me that, or
Yeah.
like, so I'm not surprised by it. And I'm not like, why wouldn't
Yeah.
you just do this? Come on, let's
Yeah.
go.
It's
You
not
know,
like you
like
don't understand them. Yeah.
I empathize with
Yeah.
them. Yeah. So,
I'm the same way.
I don't know, that it was just harder to relate with in that sense. Cause I was like growing up side by side, you become more, understanding of the other's personality, and it was like
Yeah.
both of them were just at odds all the time, and I was like, that's not really how it'd
Which
be
I don't know
if we
though, because
loved
I
it.
have heard that a lot of families aren't as close as we are. Like a lot of people tell me that, like, why are you so close with your sister? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
We
no
just
one
spent a
knows.
lot of
We
time.
survived the
We
war
spent a lot.
together.
We spent a lot of time. I don't know.
I don't know either.
And not
Yeah.
just you. Like I'm close with all my sisters.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't
So we
know.
didn't have any friends, that's why. We have no friends, so we're close with our sisters.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. One of my friends was asking me because she's like, "What did your mom do to like make you guys be so close?" Because I want that in my kids. You know, I want my kids to be
Oh,
really
yeah.
close. And I was like, I don't know. Like I was like,
I think that was
think I
more
was kind
dad,
of more my
actually.
dad. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
he was just very like family time, and that was
Oh,
really
yeah. Not
really
just family
pushed.
time, but I remember a lot of corrections from him as a kid. Like, that's not how we talk to our siblings. You need to try
Uh-huh.
that again. You know,
Yeah.
like you need to treat them with more respect.
Well, and
And
he's very close with his siblings, so that makes sense.
yeah, that's true. He really, really values family relationships.
Yeah.
So we had such an interesting childhood because we had kind of both extremes raising us, but they respected each other. So
Yeah.
it was like if dad would be like, yeah, you should, I don't know, indulge this emotional side of you. Mom wasn't like, oh my gosh, that's stupid. She was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
They
good.
weren't
And
constantly
then
undercutting each other or anything.
no, not at all. And so we just kind of got the benefit of practicality and strong emotion, which is a beautiful
Yeah.
mix when done right.
Yeah,
So
I do think that because our family is so opposite, like our dad is very extroverted, very like emotional, wears his heart on his sleeve and sensitive, and like he's just a
that makes
very
him
like
sound like a loser. He's really cool.
no, I
I
don't
know
mean
what
that
you
in a
mean, but
bad way. My husband actually is very similar to dad. He's
yeah,
just a very emotive person. I don't know how to explain
yeah,
it. I'm very attracted to that. I think it's
yeah,
especially as someone who doesn't do that.
yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that makes it. I didn't mean to make it sound bad, but
No, I'm just like pointing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be like you're being mean. It just like to
no,
anyone who doesn't know him, we're like he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's really emotional. He can't control any of his feelings. Like, I don't know. It just didn't. It
no,
didn't sound right. But yeah, I
no.
know.
Anyway,
All that's true of him. He's just
he
he's
just feels
also
things deeply. He's
he's
just a
cool.
very
Yes.
passionate person.
There you go.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but my mom was like complete opposite, and
Yeah.
so like yeah, like doesn't feel anything. Like she does, but she's just
She
very
does.
practical, very
Not
steady,
expressive.
very
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, mellow, low key. And so like their kids are all over the place. And so I think that that having that, yeah, I interacted with extroverts all the time. In fact, I would say most of our
Yeah.
family is extroverted. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm attracted to it. I'm like anytime I see friends who are like kind of crazy, I'm like, we should be friends.
Yeah.
And
You're
like
my best friend.
yeah,
Yeah.
I need them to draw me out because I won't do stuff on my own. And so
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know where I was
Yeah.
going with that, but
Well, I think that's true of most introverts because any friends I have that are that way are like, I like being pushed outside of my comfort zone.
yeah.
I need
You
that.
need
And
it.
that's
You need it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what's funny because I'm like, well, I need someone to calm me down. Like just I don't know. It's not even like they need to be like stop being crazy, but just their presence. Like when I'll be like, this person said this and it upset me, and they're just like, hmm. It just makes me feel like okay, I'm
Yeah.
calm now.
Yeah.
This isn't as big a deal as I'm making it.
Yeah.
Just their reactions to life are soothing to me. So
Yeah.
it's funny.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like my husband's not extroverted, but he is very like emotional and
Right. Yeah,
sensitive
he's an
and
interesting combo. Yeah.
anyway,
It's
but I
true.
am attracted to that like passionate personality, even though he is
Yeah.
introverted. So it's kind of a weird combo, but anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, you two are interesting because you're both introverted, but very different personalities.
Yeah, different temperaments or something. I don't know what you call that.
That's actually kind of true of Corey and I too, though. He's like when we go into a group of people, he's mingling with everyone, talking to
Chancey's that way
everyone.
too. Yeah, Chancey's that way too.
He's not shy. but I guess he would be considered introverted. I don't
Corey's
know.
more introverted though than even Chansey, I think. Like,
He
because
is in
he
this.
needs to be alone
Yes, to
to
fill up.
fill up, right? Yeah.
He definitely does. But he also does really well in social settings as far as like
Right.
he can't go for quite a while.
I
So I don't
can't
know.
tell where it's a skill and where it's a temperament. You know what I mean? So like, for
Right.
example, when I drop my girls off at dance, they have these like viewing windows where the parents can watch. And like, for some reason that scenario stresses me out so much. Like, I'd rather be anywhere else. Like, they're just like so many
Oh, because
parents
you're
and
all
kids,
close
and it's in this
together.
like
Yeah.
tiny little thing, and I just like, oh, I hate it. So I'm like, I just hate it. I hate everything about it.
I
So
avoid situations like that too, even though.
okay,
So that's
maybe
interesting.
it's not introvert. I don't know,
Maybe
but
it's
like,
just human.
but
Or
Chansey,
maybe
my husband, would like love that scenario, and he's very
oh, that's
quiet.
interesting.
He likes to be like forced to talk, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, perfect, you can get to know everybody, and I'm like,
Well, I was gonna
oh,
say he's got a skill there. Maybe it's less
yeah.
about
So
introvert extrovert and
that's
more
what I'm
about
wondering,
developed
if
skills.
it's a skill that I don't have rather than
I think it is
introvert.
because I'm extroverted and that stresses me out because I don't feel
Okay.
like I have the skills to manage that situation.
Okay.
Like
So yeah,
I
that makes
could,
sense.
but I'd have to think hard and like I'd
Right.
mess up. I don't
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
it would stress me out. So I bet that's just a preparation thing.
Yeah.
Serving a
Probably right.
mission really does like change their ability to communicate because
I
even
think so.
Corey who's very introverted, is way less scared of those situations than I am. He's like, I did this for 2 years straight.
Done worse things. Yeah.
Oh yeah, in like really stressful situations. So he's like, nah, I got this.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
overall, we made that book sound not good. It's
I
really
know.
good.
I
Yeah.
love it. I know. I'm trying to think like what we didn't talk about anything we liked about it, but I love her
I have
writing.
a
It's
whole
just
list.
beautiful, and it makes you want to start. Like, I find myself being like, I'm gonna stay for a fortnight or two. Like, you start like,
Yeah, you want to talk
you want
better.
to talk proper.
I know.
Anyway, and it makes you want to just. Well, one of the things that inspired me, which wasn't point of the book, was just how they spent their time back then. Like,
Yes.
I mean, I don't have that luxury. Obviously, I've got kids and I'm working class and all the things, but uh, they would like walk for hours and hours, and then they would read for hours and play the piano, and that's how they spent their time. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, that's really interesting, and we wonder why they're so much more eloquent and literate,
Oh,
and you know,
100%. Yeah.
and we're like, I just don't have time. We spend our time on social media, like getting dumber by the day.
Yep.
So I'm like,
Yep.
I don't know. That inspired me. I was like, I want to spend more time doing like living, you know, like not just wasting my time on my phone. Because when you look
Yep.
back, I'm like, is that what I'm going to be proud of when I die? No.
No.
Anyway,
No. And so far, it hasn't shown to be a great way to learn over reading.
No, it's
You know?
not. It makes you dumber. Like, it really does. And like,
Yeah.
I say that for me because I feel myself getting
Yeah, you can
dumber
feel
the
your
more time I
skills slipping.
spend.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I
Same.
wonder why, because it's information you're taking in, but at the same time you're
Yeah, it's just
not.
the way your brain is engaged isn't as healthy for whatever reason. I
Yeah,
don't understand either.
I don't
I
either.
did look up a whole list of why reading classic literature is important though, because I was like,
Yeah.
like everyone's like, you should read classics, and it's like, why though? Like what?
Yeah.
Why do you want to do that? So do you want me to? I can do it fast. It
Yes.
doesn't have to
Don't
be
do it. You're fine. I wanted to say one thing real quick before you did
okay.
that. What were we just talking about?
Crap. Oh, that how you spend your time and like.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that I think it was interesting to me because I always kind of judged that time era, especially that middle class, because I'm like, what did they do? Especially the women, like, what did they do? Like, they must have been so bored. Yeah, and like, I know there's some truth to that, but at the same time, I was like, I bet you they can look back on their life and be way more proud. Go out.
Or at least satisfied. Yeah.
Than I could be, you know, as far as how you spent your time, you know, and that's like obviously a huge generalization, but I'm just saying,
Sure.
as far as wasting time goes, I don't think they wasted as much as like we do, because I think that now, especially in America, we're like, oh, I'm so busy all the time. We love to be busy, we love it, but I don't have time to read. I don't have time to do this. I'm like, well, how many hours did you spend on your phone? You know, and I'm saying that for me too. Like, I do the same thing. I'm just saying, I think we're a lot less busy than we think we are. Anyway.
And I don't have time is totally just an excuse. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
You
just
don't
gotta move
prioritize it, which is fine.
stuff
Like
around.
maybe
Yeah.
you have a good reason for that, but you definitely
Yeah.
have time.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm like, I'm sorry, unless you're like, you really are dirt poor. If you're middle class America, you have time because your job
Yeah.
provides you with enough time
Yeah.
to, make you comfortable and do
Right.
the things you want. So if you're working 3 shifts at a low paying job, yes, I hear you, but other than that, no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say about
Sorry.
that? Oh, I think that's probably, I think every generation probably has its vices too, because Jane Austen does bring up like these characters where, they're so bored, all they do is drink, or all they do is play cards, or all they do is read.
That's
Like
true.
back then it was like reading silly romances was considered kind of our social media. Like, oh my gosh, they're still in their head with nonsense,
That's funny.
Yeah, so I'm
that
like, they
makes
definitely
sense.
had their vices, but their vices seem to be a lot less damaging than ours.
It
So
does. It does seem a lot less in their face. You kind of had to search
yeah,
for your vices, whereas now it's like you have to really push them away because they're all up in your face.
yeah, and not only that, but approved of by society. I think like most
Mm-hmm.
people would be like, yeah, like you can be on your phone, or you can, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be judged quite as harshly, and so then more and
Yeah.
more people are falling into that, and
Yeah.
we feel that too. But it's good to push back against, force yourself to do things that are difficult for you,
Yeah.
and
I'm
maybe not quite
trying.
as engaging.
Yeah. One of my biggest things right now is to not feel guilty about like doing things like that, like playing the piano and
Yeah.
reading and like taking a walk with my kids. I know that's weird to feel guilty about, but I feel like
No,
I'm
I
being
get it.
lazy or like I'm,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. And
There's
at the same
something you could be accomplishing. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so that's one of the main things I'm working on right now. And it's freeing to be like, I'm doing exactly what I should be doing right now,
Yep. And what I want to be doing. Yeah.
what you want to, and that should be enough, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Anyway, it's just a weird part of our, I think maybe American culture or maybe just our society today of your brain has to be constantly stimulated to
Yes,
be,
that is a huge part of it. I think part of the like guilt of not being productive is a family culture thing too,
mm-hmm,
though. Which is a good thing, but also I think it torments all of
comes
us in
back to
some
bite
to
you. Yeah.
some degree. Yeah, because I'm like, all of us kids are productive, which is awesome. I love that.
Mm-hmm,
But I do feel really guilty just like relaxing.
mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's super healthy. Like there's kind of um a balance should be struck there, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I forgot what I was gonna say
Ellie,
about that.
Ellie keeps coming in and asking me stuff, and I'm like, go out. And then I just hear her say, she said yes.
Oh,
For like everything, and she's interrupted like 4 times. So I'm
hey
like,
mom, can I have a cupcake? Go out. She said
she's
yes.
she's such a turd. I'm like, oh no, I don't know what I'm gonna come out do out there, but I'm like,
Oh
whatever.
my gosh. I have one who does that all the time. Mom said yes, but then if I catch him, he's like, oh, sorry, I thought you said that. I'm like,
Oh
you
yeah,
did not
yeah.
think that. Like, ugh. Yeah, I'm always at war with
Oh
him.
gosh, yeah.
Anyway,
Oh my gosh, Natty. Okay, sorry.
what?
You can no tell me your thing because I don't want to change the subject. I'll just talk
Okay,
about it.
I'll tell you
Okay.
this and then we'll go back to that. Don't forget it. Cement it in
Just
your
Helen
mind.
Keller. Just remember that. Just
Okay,
remember
Helen
that.
Keller. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so why reading classic literature? So this is why I looked it up, because right now it's really a big thing to read. Like it's a lot of people have turned back to novels because there's so many like fun ones that have come out. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like a lot of like thrillers and a lot of
Oh.
romances and a lot of like a lot of authors are producing at a high level, and especially women are just grabbing onto that and they're reading all the time. So I'm like, there's a difference between reading all the time and then reading classic literature all the time.
Yeah, I was thinking about this very thing the other day because I went to the library and randomly I was by myself. It just worked out that way. Anyway, I was waiting for my
Sounds
daughter.
beautiful.
I was waiting for my
Yeah.
daughter to be done with dance. It was weird. It never happens. But anyway, I just was like perusing the shelves and I was like, I can't decide if classic literature is ideal or it's just my preference. You know what I mean? Because
I think it's ideal.
um I haven't decided. So anyway, go ahead.
So here's why. So I'll tell you what like the internet told me, but then we can discuss like what our
Okay.
opinions are on it or whatever. Um, so reading literature, just literature in general, requires active analysis and engagement, which can develop critical thinking skills. So here's my point with that one is the less it requires of you to analyze, the less critical thinking skills you're going to develop. So if it's a book that is very easy read, it's just exciting, that's not really an analysis. You're not having to think about like situations or decide what would I do in that case, or
here's the
what did
thing,
that
though.
sentence really mean? Like that, I've got to deconstruct that in my mind, you know?
Well, I can read books that are very simply written. For example, I just read Helen Keller, and it was written for like kids, but it
Right.
made me think and feel and all of the things that classic literature does. It wasn't,
Right.
maybe as deep as like Les Mis or something, but uh, I don't
I
know.
don't know
I
that it needs to be difficult to read.
just have maybe a deeper topic, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm not really sure what qualifies that, but if it, I guess to your point, it made you think. I've
Yeah,
read a lot of books that didn't make me think at all. They made me
yeah,
feel because they're exciting, but
yeah.
like thinking was not a part of the equation. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
So I
That's it.
think that if it's not engaging that part of your brain, it's not going to really develop critical thinking skills, which is fine. It's fun now and then, but if this is your main diet, I like that. I was just
Like my eyes
like,
get crazier and crazier. It's like,
there's no difference between, to me it's the exact same thing. We've talked about this before, as eating junk food versus healthy food. I love junk food. I love sugar. It's fun to indulge now and then. But if that is your main diet, you are most definitely going to feel the
you're gonna
health
get
effects of
sick.
that.
Yeah.
You're going to get sick, and it might not even show up immediately, but
Yeah.
eventually over time, how
Yes.
you spend your
Okay.
time and how you engage your brain is going to show up in your
That is
personality and in the way you
100%
speak.
true.
And yeah,
I was like, so we've talked about this, but I'm like a major YouTube addict, and I've
yes,
worked on it a lot over the years.
yeah,
Anyway, I will go through these phases where I've cut it out of my life. Right now, it's like not on my phone, and I'm not using
right,
it.
right, right,
But randomly, I'll pull it back up, and I'll kind of as you start watching a few videos, you're like, oh, I'm still kind of smart, so I think I can handle it, and like
right.
I still read, and I still like I'm good. And
I'm
then like
learning from these videos. Yeah,
yeah, and so like but then like I could kind of feel myself getting dumber. Like I get more and
yep,
more
yep,
addicted to it and engrossed in it. And yeah, it takes time. It's not like 1 week or one video or
no,
one. It's gonna take time, and then slowly you're like, oh my gosh, I feel dumb again. Gosh dang it, this
yeah.
stupid app needs to get out of my life.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
so
Well, and like I'm not the same person I was. I never used to spend 3 hours on
yeah,
media. Like, what am I
yeah,
doing? You know, like yeah, we. It's really easy to become addicted to lots of things in our
yeah.
world. So this isn't like a hate on anybody for one particular thing. We all have
Mm-mm.
things, but it is kind of a, to me this research was a wake up call, and so I want to share
Okay,
it
yeah,
because
yeah.
yeah, because I was like reading is reading, and I'm like
Hmm.
no, it's not
No,
true. Like you,
yeah, and I have to tell you something. Mom told me about that the other day. Go ahead.
okay. And I think you can read a lot without being well read. So there are
Hmm.
people who will just read, but I'm like, you wouldn't really know it because they're not reading anything that's pushing them. You
Yeah.
know? And again, if your preference is exciting literature, that's fine, but at least throw in something that challenges you now and then. Like I would say, you know. Um and to that point, I'm going to skip ahead to this thing that I found really quick. Let's see. Uh, the most good Warren Buffett. Da, 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 da. Oh, okay. In the end, this is I found this on the internet and I like this. In the end, we are the company we keep. Time wasted in shallow company yields a shallow mind, while time spent in mature company produces a mature mind. Classic literature offers students the chance to spend time in the mature company of some of Western civilization's greatest minds.
Hmm.
So, same, it's this concept of, they talk about this all the time, but you are the, well, I don't know, like the mix of the three people you spend most of your time with or whatever. You know how they say
Yeah.
that? Like,
Yeah.
that's how you're going to end up. You can count the books you read and the people you spend your time with. So if you're spending most of your time with Jane Austen, she's going to rub off on you. If
Ah,
you're spending
sorry.
most of your time, what?
Sorry. Nothing. My phone. Did you hear that?
No.
Oh, sorry. Nothing. My computer was playing a video.
All of a sudden, blah, sorry. All good.
No, everything's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I think the authors you choose to spend your time with should be chosen as carefully as the people you choose to spend your time with, I guess. So
Yeah, they're filling your mind. So yeah,
they are. Yeah.
that
And
should
we
that should
definitely
probably
give
be
them a pass.
true. Like if you're gonna use social media and stuff, it'll probably be true of who you follow and and stuff
Oh,
as well, you know?
100%, 100%. As even if so, this is going back to I was thinking like, what would I tell someone who was like, your podcast pisses me off. Like it, you guys are so opinionated, you're annoying. I honestly would advise them like maybe you shouldn't watch us then because I watched this guy on YouTube who anyway, I don't even need to get into it. I on paper I should have really liked him. And there was just something about him that just
Yeah.
got to me. Like
Yep.
he irritated me so much. And every time I would watch him, I would just get mad. And he didn't even do anything. He's just putting a video out there. But there was just something about his
Yeah.
presentation and his personality, what I expected of him versus what I got. Lots of things that
Yeah.
I was just like, ugh. And every time I'd end up angry. And he's not a bad guy. He's a really like cool, nice person. And I was like, I'm just gonna not follow him anymore because for whatever reason, this is triggering strong negative emotions. And so I think, yeah, like we live in this world where it's like, don't offend anyone, don't say anything rude. And it's like, maybe just surround yourself with the people who you align with and who you're comfortable with and who lift you up. So if we're that person for you, great. If we make you feel sad and dark, don't follow us, like for whatever reason, it might trigger some negative emotions. And
Yeah.
I would say just like pick your people and it's okay. It's okay to
Yeah.
be like, I like you in life. I don't like your podcast. That's fine. Like, I don't know. I was just like going through this scenario in my head because there probably will be people, locally that I know and in our family and stuff who are like, oh, I did not like what you said, or I don't like how you handle this or whatever.
Yeah.
I just hope that people who know us personally can kind of separate that, and be like, maybe I like you in real life, but I just don't really care to follow you or whatever. I think both can be true. And I've discovered that there are people who are just good people who I'm like, nope, for whatever reason, you're triggering thoughts I don't want. And so
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, I
that was a
think that's
tangent,
true. No,
but
I
yeah,
agree with
just
you.
surround yourself with people who make you feel lifted up.
It's interesting, yeah. Ellen, I've been really trying to read, more classic books and just more in general. But
Yeah.
but when I was at the library, I was just frustrated. It's possible I don't know how to navigate the library because I typically will just buy books on thrift books, and when I go for the kids, So it's
Yep.
I just like I didn't know where to look. I walked
Yep.
everywhere and I was like, I can't find a single book in this whole
Well,
library. There was I don't know. I have a hard time with modern literature. I
don't think it's
I
great.
tend to dismiss it, but I'm like, that can't be true. I know there's got to be something that's good in there.
Sure.
I don't know how to navigate it. I don't know how to pick through and find what's good and what's
Right.
garbage.
Well,
so
that's what's nice about classic is that time has done that for you.
I think
If
you're
it's
right. I
gone
think you're
through
right.
4 generations, you can
Yeah,
kind of guess that at
you're
least it's
right.
going to have something beneficial in it.
Yeah.
Even you're not going to like every classic book you pick up,
No.
but it's a really safe genre to run to because time has already weeded out all the crap.
Yeah.
So
I know. I was trying to find honestly stuff I don't even really like Shakespeare and Hemingway and I don't even like those authors because they're boring to me. But I'll have those. Where are they? I couldn't find anything anyway.
Well,
so
I went into a Barnes and Noble and it was like, I mean, that store is huge. It's just sections and sections and sections of all these genres. And the classic literature section was this teeny little shelf in the back. Nobody's looking for it anymore. Nobody is buying it. So they just kind of shoved it into the back and gave it one little section. So if that doesn't tell you something, it's not what's selling. And I think that's probably part of what's wrong with society.
Yeah.
It's not everything.
Yeah. I don't know though, because I'm not well versed in modern literature at all. I couldn't tell you one popular author. I couldn't tell you one book I've read that's good. Same. So I can't really dismiss it all. I don't know anything about it. So
I've read enough modern authors. I mean, 5 or 6 that I'm like, no. I just would prefer. I have read a few. I thought the what's that called? The Tuesdays with Morrie author, The Timekeeper, was really good. That's kind of newer. The Rent Collector I liked a lot. There's some that are, but they have a point other than to entertain. It's not just we just want people to buy this and feel excited.
I know. I think that's what I'm looking for. I was like, was trying to Google what I'm looking for. I was like, I can't figure out what I'm looking for, but I think that's what it is. Something that's not just entertaining. Like I was like, I'll read Mark Twain. I'll read, like Harry Potter, not Harry Potter. What's that called?
Lord of the Rings.
Peter Pan, Lord of the Rings, all those older stories. But I just, anyway, I don't know.
I think there's so many classic books that have withstood the test of time. You could spend your lifetime just reading those. There's enough of them that I don't really understand why people spend so much time in modern literature.
They're hard to find for one,
excitement.
and they're hard to find if you just walk into a library. For me, anyway, I couldn't find anything. I was like, I don't even know where to go. So
thrift books is a great resource, like you mentioned.
I think not knowing where to like. Well, what books do you look at? Like, what does classic mean? I mean, you can Google it and start there.
Actually, I've come up with some really good lists just by Googling it. Like if you just Google
classics,
classic books everybody should read. You'll find maybe 6 in that list, and then anyway, I've looked up people I admire who are very intelligent. I'll look up their book lists. And they'll always have a recommended, like, I grew up on this and this and this is what made me smart, and I'm like, okay, and I'll pick 3 or 4 from there. And so you can definitely collect your own. And it's a little less overwhelming if you go to sources that you respect. I go to Coley. She's got really good classic literature recommendations. She reads like heavier things now that I'm interested in, but she still knows a ton of classic literature. So, it's already 6:30. Do you need to go?
Yeah, I do. My kids are like losing it.
Okay, let's be done.
Oh, no.
Anyway, point of this is read classic literature and just maybe get online and look up, why should I read classic literature? There's a lot of really interesting points on there.
Yeah. I was talking to Mom the other day on the phone, and she was telling me that when we were growing up, I was like, I kind of noticed that you set some kind of culture in our home of like, we don't read dumb books,
Trash.
And she was like, yeah, that was definitely intentional. She's like, it's kind of like you with your health stuff. You just don't buy the junk food. She's like, I wouldn't allow it in the home.
And she'd sniff at it. If we ever read anything crappy, she'd be like,
I know, she knew. And she would really like let us get out of chores and stay up late if we were reading good books. And so like really promoted this culture of like, we read good stuff. And she said that she's like, a lot of people think nowadays that my mom raised 9 kids, by the way, if you don't know, but she did a good job. So I take her advice, but I hope everyone else does. Anyway, but she's like, she was like, if a lot of parents think that if they raise their kids to just read, like they're reading, that's good, like they're reading maybe the book version of their favorite cartoon, like it's good. And she's like, I actually don't think it is. I think it's junk food to the brain, and just because it's words, it doesn't mean it's good.
100%.
Anyway, and so I don't know. I like her advice because she's my mom, but I just thought I'd share that. So.
I watched the thing. Jordan Peterson's, like, I don't know what he was, some coworker of his. You know how it's not Jordan Peterson Academy though, that they started a college. What's the other one that's like the conservative college where they have like the professors lecture online? Anyway,
I don't know.
One of those, the literature professor from that college said you should never read a book to your child that you don't enjoy yourself. So if you're like, oh, I hate this book, and you're reading it to them, they're like, you're tasting junk food and you're reading it to your kid. Unless it's entertaining to you, it's not good literature. Throw it out. Like, get one that speaks to you too. And I promise that means it's well written.
Similar with cartoons too, like the ones that you can stand watching with the kids. That's what they tend to be better.
They're written well. That's the problem. Is even watching crappy television, what they're watching is bad writing, and then that bad writing's getting in their head, and then translates into bad speaking and bad communication skills. And like it all comes down to the writing. So Mom was really picky about our
on the
cartoons.
writing note, my sister Nicole, your sister, I always say my
not
mom,
your sister, my sister.
Anyway, our sister Nicole is she homeschools too, and she said that she has her kids write a page every day. And anyway, I had kind of started doing that at the beginning of homeschooling, and my daughter fought it so hard. I was like, oh, we're just gonna get a curriculum and call it good. But I got back into it. She encouraged me, and I don't know why. It just was like, okay, we're doing this. Anyway,
Yeah.
so she was like, just have them skip a line at first, and then they can get more into a full
Right.
page. And so I did that with Charlie. I was like, you can skip a line and you can write whatever you want. And anyway, they look forward to it now. It's like their favorite thing.
That's
It's really cute.
cute.
They write like
Yeah.
the weirdest stories.
Oh yeah.
But it's hilarious. And they're like, and so our library has this program where they will publish a book that you write. So like my
Oh,
kids
it's
could
so
write a book
cute.
and they'll publish it and like make it this little like, they'll put it on
Oh,
their shelf for like a little bit. And I was like,
that's
Char,
cute.
you could write a book and have it at the library. And she's like, oh, and she's like, she's getting really into it. She's like, I have to make it perfect. And like, anyway, it's just really
Oh,
cute. And
that's a cool
I,
program.
yeah, and I think it just gave me hope in writing because I was just like, oh my gosh, my kids hate it. I can't make them do it, and now they
Yeah.
look forward to it. And then every Wednesday, I'll switch it up and we'll do a spelling test instead. And
Yeah.
they love the spelling test for some reason.
That's cute.
Anyway, so yeah, it's
Uh,
been fun.
that's really fun. Do you give them a list of spelling words to study that week? How do you
No,
do your
I
spelling
should.
test?
I just like throw it at them.
Okay.
That's a good
Well,
idea.
I was just trying to think, like, I don't do spelling tests, but my kids are pretty bad spellers, so I'm
Yeah,
like, maybe I should do something like that. And I've started to make them write about every third day because they have like worksheets they do in between, but
hmm
I'm like, maybe I'm gonna start making them write every day because they fight me hard on it every third day.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and it overwhelms them and they get whiny, but I'm like, they have their handwriting and just their communication in general on paper has gotten better in like a week. And so I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
yeah,
what I've noticed. They've only done it for the last 2 weeks, and their
yeah,
reading has gotten better. Their
right.
Brinley's
Everything's
only
better.
6, and Coley was like, she's a little young, but yeah, just start her out, have her do half a
Yeah,
page or something.
yeah,
And she's just cute. Like her little stories are cute. She like gets excited about it, and her spelling's all over the place. But I help her, and we just
yeah.
like I'll circle all the words that they get wrong, and I'll write them down at the bottom, and they have to rewrite them.
Cute. That's a
All
good
the spelling
idea.
words that they get wrong, just so it gets in their
Yeah,
head of like this is how you
yeah,
spell it. Um,
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, man, I've just turned a corner with homeschooling. I'm like, oh, I love it now. I just was so
Oh,
worried I was gonna hate it,
good. Good.
but
It
it's
is
been
kind of hard to love at first when you're overwhelmed and trying to
so
find your curriculum
painful.
and get your routine and
Yeah,
yeah,
I wanted to
yeah.
quit so many times. I was like, I am not doing
Yes.
this, but
Yes.
I think I'm not gonna say anything yet because I always change my mind. But I think I'm hooked. We'll see.
Good.
But
That's fun.
so far, I
It's
really love
been
it.
really fulfilling for me. It's hard. There's been wake up calls where I'm like, oh man, I've
Yeah,
ruined them. I'm their
yeah.
teacher and they didn't know this.
I
But then
know
we
there's
just
holes that you don't think about. Like I thought about
whew,
typing the
yeah,
other day. I was like, oh gosh, we got to figure out typing. Like I have not taught
yeah,
them how to do that. Anyway,
yeah. Do you know there's
but
a free program online they can do?
there's a bunch of free ones. I was doing just like games. I
Yeah,
don't know what they have, but
yeah.
anyway,
They have one called typing.com and it's
I think I
like
did that one.
okay, yeah, it'll take them through like each letter and then it has
Yeah,
games and I don't know. My kids have benefited from that, but
yeah,
yeah, there's holes. There's gonna be holes, but Corey was really cute the other day. He's been the one who from the beginning we were both on board, but I was definitely the enthusiast and he was like, I think this is good for them, but like this
yeah,
is different, you know?
yeah. That's
And
exactly how my husband is.
yeah, and just the other day he's like, I don't care what holes there are in their education. He's like, they're gonna benefit by having you be their personal tutor every day, four
Yeah,
days a week for the rest of their
yeah,
education. It's like
yeah,
it just can't help but do them good. We're starting finally. I mean, it's been 3 years, 3 or 4 years, just now to see like an uptick in their abilities.
yeah.
I think I'm just like a terrible teacher or
Oh
something, or
no,
it's like
you have
I
boys.
seriously
You have all
I
boys.
I don't know what it is, but I'm like, oh, okay, they're listening. It's paying off.
They
They're
are
getting
little
smart. Like,
monkeys. Oh, that's what I was going to
oh,
tell you. That's what I was going to tell you about Helen Keller. So I just
oh
read
yeah.
that book, and it's
Was
like a
it one
really.
she wrote?
It's called Helen Keller's Teacher. I don't think it's one she wrote. It's just
Okay.
like a little thing of their life. Anyway, it's
Okay.
like written for kids. It's really cute,
Uh-huh.
but I read it really fast. It's really short,
Right.
but it was so inspiring. It made me cry because I was like, this is like
Mhm.
she put into words what motherhood is. Like she was like, they do these battles. Her and Helen Keller would just battle, and then she's like, I'd go to bed, just crash on the bed, and just bawl my eyes out. And then I'd try again the next day, and she's like, oh, I'm pushing you too hard. I'm sorry. I forget. I'm gonna calm it down.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then finally when she figures out water, like the sign language water means water, and that when that
Exit, yeah.
clicks or whatever, and she's just like this is why I do what I do. It just made me bawl. I was like,
Uh,
this is what I'm doing. I just spit
yes.
everywhere. Hopefully no one saw that. Anyway,
No, I wouldn't have
now
known.
you heard it. Anyway,
Now we know.
so yeah, I just don't know what I'm saying, but I just
No,
that book
it's-
was really inspiring for homeschool moms, or it just motherhood in general, honestly, because it just motherhood is so hard, and
yeah, it is.
it just was really inspiring. Of like, okay,
Well,
we are making a difference.
you're
And
making a difference if you're working hard. Like you can definitely be a lazy mom and not make that big of a
yeah,
difference. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Not any mom's gonna make a difference, but like, you know, when they're like, all I don't know, there's kind of this like arbitrary, all moms are good. I don't know. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And I think I like that because Helen Keller's teacher would push until she collapsed on the bed in tears and
yeah.
she would like get up and try again and then pull
Mm-hmm.
back and always trying to find the balance, always trying to do what was best, always that's going to pay off. Like
Yeah,
your concerted efforts on your child's behalf are always going to pay off whether you're doing it clumsily or not.
yeah,
But I do think it's easy also to be like, oh, I'm a mom. Like I've
yeah,
someday they'll be fine. And I'm like,
yeah.
that's not true,
You still
you
gotta,
know?
yeah, put
But
intentional.
yeah, and I don't
Yeah,
mean that to discourage you particularly. You are putting in tons of effort on your kid's behalf and trying your hardest, not because of homeschool, but just as a mom. I know that
yeah,
about you. So I'm like, yeah, that at the end of the day is going to pay dividends, I think. Like
yeah.
your very intense efforts towards your children. It should be difficult. If it's not, then you probably
Something,
aren't.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Gotta,
think not that you want to make it difficult, you want to make it as easy as you can, but like if you're not constantly trying to readjust and rebalance and think about it, it's maybe you need to put a little more thought into it or something, you know. And
yeah,
I just mean the royal you, us too, because there's
yeah.
times when I'm like, life's great, it's breezy, and I'm like, maybe I'm not focused on my kids the way I want to be, you
Something
know.
isn't right. It's when the kids are
Yeah.
quiet. You're like, something's not right.
Something's off. I don't mean to advocate for making your life complicated, that's not
No,
what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's worth all the efforts, I guess, is my
Yeah,
point.
it
It's
did inspire me too. Like I love books that inspire me, that tell a story and inspire me. That's like my favorite.
yeah,
Anyway, but it
yeah,
inspired
me
me
too.
to be a better mom and to like she would teach her, you know, with books and learning and stuff, but she took her outside often and like made her feel things with her hands and like constantly was like, and she wouldn't let her go to like a traditional school basically because she was like, it was for the blind, but she was like, this room is like too small for Helen. She needs to be out, she needs to touch, she
She
needs to
knew
feel.
her,
Anyway,
yeah.
it was really cute and it just made me think of
Yes.
homeschool and getting my kids out. And I was like, I need to do better at doing both because I tend to I think because of that trend of like we unschool that I really don't agree with, that I'm like, I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
doing any of that, so I just like push it all away and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
we're studying hard and then we
Right.
play on the weekends. And but I don't know, I want to be better at incorporating the outside world
Same.
into my kids' lives. So that's kind of
Yeah.
tricky for me because I don't trust my own brain and ability to be like, this is math and this, you know what I mean? Like I don't know how to explain it.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel like
yeah.
the
Like
curriculum like
today we're
tells me,
cooking and
yeah,
yeah.
and I don't know. Anyway,
I'm the
it's
same.
scarier to go out on your own, I guess.
I'm much more of a formal educator. Like I would
Yeah,
much rather follow a very structured curriculum and stick to it than be like, our cooking taught us math today,
yeah,
or
exactly.
but I do have a friend who's way more loose with her kids, and they're brilliant and they're way smarter than my boys just by nature. Like I don't mean my boys are
Yeah,
dumb, but hers are just really smart.
yeah.
And it's working for her
I do
because
think there's an art to it. Yeah.
yeah, I think she just understands them and how they learn and she
Mm-hmm.
set them up for success. But
Yeah.
it is a very different style to mine, but I'm like, I don't know, it's working, obviously, because your
Yeah.
kids are educated. And
Yeah.
so
It's true.
yeah, I don't know. I think just do what works for you. But
Yeah.
yeah, unschooling does not work for me. That gives me
No,
anxiety.
me too. It stresses me
So
out way too much. But it did make that book did make me excited to be like, okay, I need to get them out more and touching
yeah,
and being
yeah,
out in nature and
that's
anyway.
true. I'm
So,
really bad at that. What I need to do is start waking up earlier. I hate waking up at like 4 or 5 a.m. because it makes me hate
oh yeah,
everyone all the time.
don't do that. Yeah. Just
But
do like
I'm like
6.
6 a.m. wouldn't hurt me,
Yeah.
and it would give me just a little edge. We just
Yes.
like when I have a system and we're flowing, I feel so happy. And
Mm-hmm.
lately, it's just been like, "Bah, bah, 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 bah."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
I can tell.
I've done
off.
6 lately, and that is just the perfect time for me.
Okay.
I've decided.
Okay.
I feel
Well, because then you can go to bed
rested.
at 10
Yeah,
and still get a
yeah.
nice
I
rest.
feel
Yeah.
well rested, and I can still get ahead of the kids, and it's
Yeah.
just I don't know, there's something about like even an hour before they get up
I
that
know.
sets you up for like hours ahead of them. I don't know, it's weird. I don't know what it is.
I
Well,
don't know.
I can clean my entire house before they wake up in like 30 minutes.
I
It's
know.
it's so crazy. I'm like, man, I am probably like really efficient without them. I just didn't know.
It's kind of insane how difficult it is to do
Oh
anything
my
with
gosh.
children around you.
One
Like,
time I was like, sorry, go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry, I keep
Well, I was
cutting you
going to
off.
say, Corey will take like 1 or 2 to work now and then.
Yeah, that's nice.
And yeah, it's cute because since they're homeschooled, they can. They'll
Yeah.
take their work with them and go do it down at the office. And if he takes just 1 kid, so I go from 5 to 4, I'm like, wow, this is so easy breezy. And I'm like, what would I accomplish if I had like no kids at home? Obviously, I'm doing this for a reason.
For them, yeah.
Overall, it's fulfilling and enjoyable. But man, now and then to have just like full reign of the house and just get stuff done, I'm like, they just are very distracting little things.
Yeah, man. One time Jackson was like, I kind of like stepped back and took like a bird's eye view of what I was trying to do, and I was like, wow. Wow. Like I was trying to cook dinner. I was trying to clean the kitchen, and the girls were I was trying to manage them practicing the piano and dance. So it was like all these things in them. It's like the worst time of the day. Anyway, and Jackson, my 1-year-old, he was like, he was literally going through and destroying the entire kitchen right after I'd cleaned up. He'd get all the bowls and pull them all out, and then he'd go and get all the papers and pull them, and he starts ripping them, and then he'd go in the dishwasher and pull all the forks out, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I wonder why I'm always like, breathe. What's wrong with me? Why do I have anxiety? Breathe. I was like looking at it from like a bird's eye view, and I was like, okay, it's a lot. It's okay.
It's a lot. Well.
It's okay.
Yawn came out of nowhere. I will say too that having a 1-year-old is just one of the hardest things that you can ever do.
He is so freaking cute. It's his redeeming quality, but oh my gosh. It's like having a pet monkey while you're trying to homeschool. You're like, oh, and here's our monkey that throws poop every now and then. Just ignore him.
That is not even an exaggeration. It is literally like having a pet monkey. They have no impulse control, no ability to reason, but they're active and mobile, and they can grab things, and they're curious, and they just rip things apart. It is literally a pet monkey from like 12 months to 18 months. You're just I can do this. And then every time they hit about 2 for me, they're walking, they talk a little, and it's so cute, and they can kind of reason a bit, and they can do little puzzles and just stuff like that. Their development starts to happen. That's when I always want another kid. I'm like, oh, they're so cute, I want another one. And then I forget that 2 years is like,
I know. I like I know. I've been watching these like little babies. I've been noticing babies again, and I'm like, no, get away. The ovaries are acting up.
My ovaries are stirring. I'm like,
it's so weird. It's so instinctual because I'm like, I just got done with this. I'm exhausted. I can't even keep up with what I have. I can't. And I'm like, and yet my ovaries are like, but look, another one.
Okay,
Chancy's like, the point.
No. Stop. Okay, to the point where I'm like, if I don't have another baby, I'm gonna get like a little purse puppy and just take care of it. Because I'm like,
I'm gonna have an ant farm if I don't have another baby, Corey.
Seriously, I am like so baby hungry right now, and it is weird. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm like, I hate being pregnant.
I know.
I really am not great with newborns. I don't really love the like active crazy stage. I think I do love it. It's just overwhelming. Yeah. But I'm like, why am I wanting another baby?
I know. Vanny was reminding me of like all the little things that you forget because she's due in like a month or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, she was like,
I can't roll over.
I don't know if I should share this, but she was like, you can't like shave anywhere.
Yes.
Like, you can't see, so it's like you got this like big old, and you just get blind shaving and.
I was like, okay, not to be like gross or give an image, but even your legs, like if we're just gonna not be gross, even your legs are hard to shave. You're like, I can't reach them.
You can't reach your toes, so I just have hairy toes the last few months. I'm like, sorry, I can't reach them. So anyway,
well, and for me too, I'm not as like active about getting back into shape until probably 6 months post baby. I kind of just like, bleh,
Yeah.
and then I get really like
I
motivated.
think that's smart. I wish I had, I wish I had chilled.
It's good. I like it. It works out for me, but it's also like it has its own stress because I don't like being in a body that doesn't feel
Chaos.
like mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I get claustrophobic, but I try to just chill until it's fine.
I think it's smart. I actually feel like
Yeah,
I went through like a delayed postpartum depression because I didn't take that time to relax.
yeah, yeah.
And because I was like, "Ugh, man, I always look back and I'm like, why was I such a freak? Like, God.
I don't know. You
Anyway,
don't feel like yourself. You're trying to like
yeah.
regain sense of
Yeah.
identity. You know,
Yeah.
it's normal.
I think I identify as this like healthy, like
Yeah.
hardworking. I
Yes.
work out
Yes.
constantly. That is my
Yes.
identity. So when it's gone, I'm
Right.
like, I don't even know who I am. So it's like
Yeah. I can't identify with this. Yeah.
the minute he was sleeping through the night, I was like waking up at 4, and I was like looking back. No wonder I went through this like delayed crazy. Like I was just
Yeah.
bawling for no reason. Like I
Yeah.
was super stressed. I was like losing hair, like all these things, and I was like, oh, that's so sad. Like I would just give me a hug back then, my little postpartum self. Like I
Yeah.
should have
I
just chilled.
know.
Anyway,
Well,
and it's
part of that too. Go ahead.
I just was gonna say it's not people always get like freaked out when I say stuff like this. Like you're beautiful, you're not fat. It's not this fear of being fat. It's like it's an addiction to working out, I guess you could say.
Wow.
It's not
The
even
feeling of
aesthetic.
working
It's
out
like
and the
it's not that I don't
everything that
care
comes
about
with it.
aesthetic. Like it's fun. It's not what drives me. It's like a obsession. I don't even know how to explain it, but
No, I know what you mean. I think like it's its own high. Like you can
yeah.
get high on the feeling of hard work. It
And
feels good.
it's the only thing I do outside of the home. So like it
Yeah.
gave me a break from the kids. Like it was, I
Yes.
identify as it. It's,
Yes.
anyway, so it's like, it's got all these good things, but it definitely
Sense
does
of
come back
belonging.
to bite me. And I wish that I had just relaxed and like, man,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
6 months, like you said, like the time
Yep.
passes anyway. Like you're going to be okay, like,
I know.
anyway,
I
I don't
think
know.
there's like a fear that if you sit in your indulgence too long, that's who you become, which there's
Yeah, I
truth to
think
that. That
that
can
was my fear.
happen.
I was like, I'm going to
But
be
I
lazy. Yeah.
right. But too many like I've had too many kids to feel that anymore. Like I'm like, I just know this is my routine. So I'm instead of like freaking out like I do every time, I'm just gonna chill.
I
And
think it's
it was
wise. Yeah.
it was a lot better.
Yeah.
But and I'm just not really motivated to like lose weight and work hard and stuff until about 6 months. That's when I
Well,
start to get
it's smart. It's
frustrated
when
and then
you're
I'm like,
like kind of done well, I don't know how long you breastfeed, but
I can't breastfeed very long. But yeah,
anyway, and you're sleeping
most
through the
people probably
night.
be
The
close.
baby's kind of healthy and big and
You're
yeah.
just a little more balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not anyway. And I do understand though when you're like I woke up at 4 and just had to work out. It's not that you're like crazy or anything, but you just went through a whole year of not having your body
Yeah.
or your energy. And when you kind of feel it coming back, you're like, whoo,
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
like run faster than you
Yeah.
have strength.
And
Think
yes,
you feel
exactly.
good, but you're
Exactly.
not
You
quite
feel better
ready.
than you
Yeah.
have in a year, a whole year. So it's
Yes.
like it's kind of
Yes.
like yeah, being like I don't know, have where you can't use one of your limbs for a whole year or something, and then all of a sudden you can. Like you're just like I'm just gonna run, like
Hey,
that's how I feel. And so then yeah, you go a little faster than you should. And anyway,
that's really good analogy, actually. It really is like your legs missing for
yeah,
a year and a half, and then all of a sudden it grows back, and
yeah,
you're just so grateful for
yeah.
it. You're like, oh my gosh,
Man,
my body, I missed you.
we were watching this
Yeah.
show. I think it was a British or an Australian show. I couldn't remember. But we were watching it with my brother, who's like super fit and into fitness and stuff. And it's called the Fit to Fat to Fit, I think is what it's called. Fit to Fat to Fit. Anyway, some show that they probably wouldn't be able to air in America, but they they basically the trainers will gain weight with their people they're helping. So they'll
So
gain
they can
so they can
empathize with them.
empathize. So they'll gain
Holy
like a
cow.
ton of weight and then they'll lose it with them. Anyway, it's actually really fascinating to watch the psychology of them because I get those trainers. Like they're like, this is my identity and I'm not exercising, and like they like go
I
crazy.
can't handle this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they empathize because they're like, I'm exercising with these people. I don't have energy. I don't want to do this. So like when you
Yeah.
say things like just work harder, like it's not helpful.
Get off your butt.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they could actually like use the right words. It was actually really cool that they would do that.
That's really interesting.
But I was like watching it and I was like, this is giving me PTSD. It's like getting pregnant 4 times. It's like, that's what you do. And my brother kind of looked over and he's like, oh. Yeah, and then he looked at his wife and he's like, oh, like a new appreciation.
Oh, that's
it's
cute.
like, that is what you do, isn't it? That's crazy. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It is kind of crazy. You willingly give up your body for your babies, and it's Yeah, it's good. It's like what you get out of it's totally worth it, but it's hard. It's hard to just give that up. And then I really do feel for people who have had a hard time bouncing back fully from having children. Like they never really quite get their body back, or they never really, not that I have either. My body's not the same as it used to be, but they really don't. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I really think that a lot of times it comes down to they're really discouraged because they're like, this isn't even me anymore. Like, I don't even want to try. It
Yeah,
takes a ton of time, way more than we
it does.
think to lose a massive amount of weight. And then
It always takes longer
the
than you think too, because like I don't know. I had this image in my head of what I wanted to look like aesthetically, how much muscle I wanted to have, like, or
right,
whatever,
right, right.
and it's been over a year of working out very hard, and I'm just
Just
starting to see those
consistently.
of what
Yep.
I wanted in my head. And I'm like,
And it'd
okay.
probably take you 2 or 3 years to get to where you're like, that's exactly
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
everything is
It
perfectly what I
like
wanted.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I lost weight pretty quickly, but as far as like
sure. Seeing
definition
the
and
muscle where you
muscle and
want,
like
getting the
all
butt you want,
yeah,
getting, yeah,
it just
yeah,
takes time. It does. It just takes a lot of
does.
time, and
It does.
it's hard to believe that it will happen to you if you've never seen it, like if you've had kids, you're like, I'll never
Yes.
get it back, but it will happen. It's hard to be motivated to do that. So
Well, it's why like you have to have a different why than just the aesthetic part of it, because
mhm.
even though that's a great perk, it doesn't drive me enough to work out consistently. I'm like, I have to really enjoy the feeling, or
Yeah.
or really hate the feeling of having too much weight on me, not even just for looks, but like that feeling.
Mhm.
It makes me feel claustrophobic. So like
Mhm.
that really motivates me, or just I feel sick if I don't work out, if I eat gross, or I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's a feeling of accomplishment. A lot of that is it's good to find a reason to work out that's like, even if I never lose weight, can I work out for this reason? And if
Mhm.
you can stick with that, you'll lose weight eventually. It'll
Yeah.
just come naturally if you
Yeah, it's
stop
almost
stressing
like
about it.
you have to let go of this
You have to let go.
of this I don't know, like the end result almost. It's like you kind of keep it
Yes,
up
you
there
do.
like vaguely, but you kind of got to just push it out and just be like, okay, I'm taking this
Uncle John.
every single day.
Uncle John calls it trust in the process, because he does
Yeah.
that with his like sales. He has like little
Mhm.
meticulous things he does every single day. He's like, you
Mhm.
don't think about, yeah, well, I didn't sell this one thing I was trying to sell. Like it didn't work.
Mhm.
He's like, if you checked every little box, you called them and you said this thing, and you did all the things you were supposed to do, that is you accomplishing it. You
Yeah.
did it. Good job. So it doesn't matter if you do big workout and then you're not skinny. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You went to the gym, you worked out, you did everything you said you were going to do, you're accomplished. Check, check,
Yeah.
check. He's
You
like, you
know,
just trust in the process eventually.
yeah. I was thinking like I was going down that health coach route or whatever, and I kind of moved away from it mostly for a lot of reasons, but one of them was like I didn't want to keep up the social media aspect or whatever.
Right.
And there's like this kind of a pressure for the fitness world to kind of like show your body all the time to give
Yeah.
yourself validation. And
Right.
to be fair, it kind of is like, okay, she's got six pack, so I can, do that
I think
too or
it's an
something.
annoying trend personally,
Um,
but
but I just was thinking, I'm like, it would be kind of refreshing to have like a workout person on YouTube that just
yes.
wasn't constantly showing off their body. And I was like, maybe I could do
Yes.
that, but I don't know. I always get excited about all these ideas, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I have no time. But
I don't know why you couldn't do it.
anyway,
You could schedule stuff on there and just,
yeah,
and plus I'm all about like just run with the idea, and if it doesn't work, who
yeah,
cares? I've
you're
tried
right,
10
you're
million
right.
things that have
Well, and
failed. Yeah.
I'm all about like project 40 years in the future, and then think of all the horrible things that could
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I
Like
need
just
you to be
try
like,
it.
it's okay. You said
Yeah,
it.
it's like the worst thing that can happen is you just stop. Who cares?
I know.
You
I think
know?
I'm just really embarrassed by how many things I've started and stopped over the years, but I'm like, it's all right.
Nobody's keeping track of
I
that
know.
though. Like we think in our minds that they're like, where are your videos? Where are they? Do you
They
remember when
don't
we
care.
did Granny's Attic and then we just
Yeah.
like completely stopped? I
Yeah.
haven't had a single person be like, where's Granny's Attic?
Yeah.
Why don't you do it anymore? Even though
Yeah.
there were like a few people who really loved it, and they
Yeah.
forget about it. Your
Yeah.
job is to remind them of you. So if once you're done, you're gonna phase out of
Yeah. You're
fizzle out
right.
of their minds.
Man, if I
Yeah.
could get over my head games, I'd beat somebody. I could really be cool. I'm just kidding.
There's truth to that though. You should get out of your head. Just do
I
it.
know. I know.
Yeah. And I know that's easier. That's easy, like way easier to just say, but I'm like, I think it's healthy to just try. So I, I was
I
gonna,
get excited like trying to help moms because I know what
I
that
know.
feels like, and I see the discouragement. I don't want them to be discouraged because I'm like,
I will
it's
tell
possible.
you, I know you want them to just like feel like, yeah, their bodies are amazing machines. They can use them.
You can be as athletic as you were in your 20s, even more so. You know, it's exciting.
Exactly.
So
It's possible. It's not just like the athletic people. You can do it right now. Yeah. I think it would be very refreshing to have somebody who, I've always thought this. I'm like, they have workout shirts. I've bought them that are extremely form fitting. You can literally see everything through them. You could see every ab if you had to find abs, but they've got sleeves on them.
So you get the picture, you know?
And they're long. You get the picture. No one's going to look at you and be like, she's hiding fat under there. She's a fraud. And you can wear like really tight yoga pants or whatever. So like you can see all the muscles in your body or whatever without like this overexposure, because I do think
sorry, finish your thought. I keep interrupting.
I was just saying, I do think there's this weird trend right now to be like I literally followed this girl who was doing an ab workout in a thong bikini. Like I was like, she was wearing nothing. And I was like,
they know exactly what they're doing. It's so dumb.
I know they do, and I get all that. But more than that, more than just like your evil motives or whatever, it's so trashy. I'm like, it just looks trashy. Don't do that. I've been starting to work out with my boys in the morning, which has been really fun. I'm like making them lift weights with me, which is cute. They just lift like 5 pounds or whatever. Cute. But I'm like, I want them to learn like form and to get used to this idea that like lifting weights can help you stay fit. And I don't know. And it's been really fun. So we've been doing that, and it is so hard to find a workout video where there's not a woman wearing like very
that's what I was gonna say. Is like, I think there's really is a niche for like a family friendly workout.
It would be amazing. And especially if she knew what she was doing.
And not just like your kids. Like, you don't really want your husband walking in on this like
skimpy woman on the screen.
And like doing like downward facing dog or something. Like, it's like really awkward. Like,
it feels weird.
I just don't really want that in my home. So
I didn't even like freak out about it when we were looking for workouts, and my boys were like, oh, she's not, like, they said something like, she just has a bra on or something like that, you know? And I was like, oh, that's true. Like, as a mom, I just don't want them to have to deal with that, you know? So I was like, it would be, I would immediately subscribe to someone who, and isn't like overly fake energetic, and isn't, you know what I mean? There's a lot of weird trends in that area. There's a niche for just a normal person in normal clothes doing really hard workouts. Because sometimes you get those like the t-shirt moms, and then they're like, let's do water aerobics, and you're like, really? Like, that's not a workout. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I do know what you're saying.
Yeah, you did really difficult workouts, but I don't know, stayed classy. You'd niche for sure.
Okay, so done doing it. Just kidding.
Do it.
I'll link it below, like I promise everything.
That's either way. Do what makes you happy.
I think I always convince myself I don't like that anymore. That was the old me or whatever. But I really do get excited by it. I just I think I've told myself that I have to do the Instagram slutty route, and I'm like, I don't like it. I don't want to do that. I'm a private person. I don't like to show that I don't like to do it. So so to me, I'm just like, I'm just going to avoid it. But I think that maybe that's not the right answer. So anyway.
No, and I think anytime people like, I don't know, I'm not fooled by someone who's on there like putting their butt right in the camera, or who's like wearing a really hot, bikini outfit. I'm like obviously you're trying to get clicks and views and likes and just stay up with what's trending in that. But I'm like, it'd be really cool if you got there without using your body as a tool, you know?
Yes.
Personally.
Honestly, like one of the yoga girls that I subscribe to, she's one of the few because they annoy me so much. But
they're so annoying.
She's so like even kill, not like throwing weird stuff out there.
I'm trying to like force you to feel her religion. Like, okay. Yeah.
But she's also very not just modest in her clothes, because sometimes she does wear just a bra, but for the most part she's usually pretty covered, and she's just modest in her actions. I don't even know how to explain that, but like she's not trying to be sexual at all, and so it doesn't come across that way. And she actually is really pretty, but you kind of forget because you're there for the exercise. And I'm like, I love that. I'm grateful that you have this culture that you've set up on your channel. And I'd love to do something like that. So
you know who that reminds me of is Kaya, our brother's wife. She's so stunningly beautiful that like sometimes I'm just like amazed at how pretty she is. But she doesn't have like a need for attention from everybody.
She doesn't like try. She's like, I just wake up
like
like this.
well, but she dresses very trendy. Her
Yeah.
hair is always pretty. She always has
Mhm.
makeup on. She's like, she knows what is current. But
Mhm.
I never get the feeling from her that she's like, okay, am I the prettiest girl in the room right now?
Competing.
Like,
Yeah.
never, ever do I feel that. And she's like, she's easily the prettiest girl in the room everywhere she
She's
goes. Like, she's
lovely.
so pretty. And it's really refreshing. She has this like feel of innocence and like just goodness
She
about
is
her.
refreshing. Is that exactly how I would
Yes.
describe her? I know that's weird. She's
Yes.
probably listening to this and be like, "Will you guys please stop talking?"
Like, stop, you're creeping
But
me
like
out.
it really is like that's how I would describe her. She's just refreshing to be
She's
around because
refreshing.
she's not trying to compete and she's just
No.
beautiful and
Yeah.
that's what I
She has
aspire
all
to
the
be.
assets that any woman would want. She has all of it. And she
Assets.
doesn't use
Sorry.
it assets. She doesn't use you said ass. She doesn't use it as nice, but Kaya in particular just gives me that feeling
She has a
of
very calming presence. So
yes,
yeah.
just like fresh innocence. There's just something really cool about her. But anyway, that is neither here nor there, but I was just thinking about how much more attractive it is to not be focused on how much attention you're getting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
It is.
as a person and as a woman, she just is more attractive for that.
Yeah.
For not being a part of that. So
Yeah.
as much as we think we're, benefiting ourselves and our place in society as like the sexiest woman, I'm like, it's way more attractive to be a Kaya.
Yeah.
So
yes, I agree.
yeah.
Well, that's what I tell my girls because like they're kind of starting to get into beauty a little bit. Like they're like, I just want to look pretty today, and anyway, and one of them's like, she's like, I don't know, I just don't know if I'm pretty or not. Like that. She's kind of like thinking about that, and I'm like,
yeah.
Anyway, and I'm like, well, first of all, you are, but also if you want to have lasting beauty, if you want to be beautiful till you die, this is how you do it, And I said you have to be kind and you have to be brave. And so like anyway, I kind of explained what I meant, and she was just like, okay, like anyway, I don't know if it's sinking in, but
It'll
but
sink in. Mom used to teach us that stuff too, and for better or worse, some things we took, some we didn't.
Yeah.
We should have listened to everything.
Yeah. So like I'll give her an example. Like, you remember Cinderella? That's why I love that live action Cinderella. It's so cute. Anyway, but I was like, remember the Cinderella? If she was as mean as her stepsister, she wouldn't have been as beautiful. Am I right? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, she was so beautiful because she was kind. And she's like, yeah. Anyway, so
yeah, kindness is very attractive. It's so true. Men and women. Corey and I were talking about that yesterday. Can't remember why, but anyway, we were just saying like, even like a really ugly person would be very attractive if they're extremely kind, genuinely kind. They go out of their way to, I don't know, you can feel the outward people versus the inward people. If they're there to help you feel better and help you feel happy, and they're not concerned about what everyone's thinking about them, about it's just so nice.
That makes me reflect and want to be better because I am definitely like I'm always worried about what people are thinking. So I think that's I shouldn't say always. But in situations where I don't know people, like going to dance class or something, like I'm not definitely not looking out like how can I help? I'm just like, nobody talk to me. So
that's a good point. Like the times when I'm really scared, I have heard that trick before. Like think about who else is scared and just try and help them, and then you won't be scared anymore.
Yeah.
But that is a good point, because the times when I am intimidated, I'm only thinking about myself. So I need to work on that too. Food for thought. We inspired ourselves.
We're that good.
Chuck Norris inspires himself on his podcast.
We're the Chuck Norris of podcasts.
Yeah, we are, with 2 followers. I think we have 1 subscriber, and I'm 90% sure it's Mom on YouTube.
No, it's me. It's me.
Oh! It's not. Even his mom doesn't subscribe to us.
Mom, come on.
It's me. That's the best thing I've ever heard. No, that is in fact me. Subscribe to us.
Speaking of Mom, you can follow us on Mal and Nat Sister Chat on YouTube now. We are officially on YouTube. Nat, share all our social things. Quick.
Okay, so I made an intro and an outro video so that we can attach it to everything. I know, I got real fancy. So we can attach it to everything so that we can say it, but it'll also
Okay.
But anyway, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, We have a Google site called malinat.com, and it has all of our social links on it. So malinat.com is really easy to remember, so you don't have to type in like Malinat Sister Chat. But anyway, malinat.com, and then what else? There's another one that we're on. Oh, we're on Instagram and Facebook too. Is that all of them? I think that's all.
So. We will
haven't
link
gone the
these
TikTok
below
route
this time.
yet.
So,
Oh yeah. I need to do TikTok, but I hate TikTok, so that needs to happen.
I also hate TikTok, so that's a problem.
It is a really easy way to reach people, though. So, like, I don't know what. There's something about it. Blast it to everyone.
It's the worst. Why do I hate it so much?
It is so, like, blah. Anyway, we'll watch. TikTok will be the only reason anyone finds us, and we'll have to eat our words. But, anyway, right now, that's the only one we're not on. And I'm sorry, I'm going to let you go. There's one more social thing I was going to say. Oh, if you go on our website, malinat.com, I'm going to post, I already have, but I'm going to post like stills from our videos. So there's like goofy pictures and stuff on there if you care about that, but they're kind of fun.
They are fun.
And, yeah. And then there's links to all of our videos. So right now there's like, we have one episode posted.
Yeah. Anyway.
If you don't remember anything else, go to malinat.com.
Yes. But remember everything else.
I think we have a different name on every platform, which is my bad. But like some of them didn't have like Mal and Nat available. Like Instagram's like Mal_Nat smiley face. Just kidding. But I'm like, it's always weird on there. I'm like, I don't know. I can't remember what I did.
Okay, so Mom, get on YouTube, and I know you found our channel, so just hit subscribe so we can have 2 subscribers.
Yeah, Mom, subscribe to us, and you should promote this to everyone. She sent it to Emily since we talked about her in that first one. I was like, oh, crap. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that, like, almost all of our views, she's going to be like, wow, you guys are super annoying. Please don't mention me.
We were never family.
She's like, you're embarrassing me. But, anyway, so that was funny. I was like, I'm sending it to Emily. Sorry, Emily.
She's been sending me music lately. I just love her so much because I was like, I heard this song. Do you remember that song Boston?
No.
Think I'll go to Boston.
I never heard that song.
New life. No one knows my name. Get out of California. Come on.
I don't know it at all.
Tired of the weather. Oh, okay.
Keep singing it. I don't know it.
Second verse. Anyway, I listened to it all the time in high school because Emily brought it, and then I was like, she brought like all these genres to Panaca. It cracked me up because Panaca's like country music. And she like brought like 40 different genres, and I was like, you kind of like culture-fied Panaca. Good job.
So Emily has like really refined taste. She's such an interesting person.
She had all this music, and she'd be like, it's okay. It has a little swear word, but it's okay. And I'd be like,
okay. Oh my God, she's probably like, I mean, 100% without a doubt, thought we were the biggest freaks she'd ever met.
I kind of want to know, and at the same time, I'm like, I don't
want to know. I don't want to know. Emily, just love us. I'm sorry.
We love you.
Freaking weird.
Sorry you had to live with us.
Yeah, like, yeah. I just look back on that and I'm like, oh my gosh, we were just the freaking weirdest people. We were like raising sheep when she came out there. We were like walking goats. What else were we doing?
Oh, she was like, you guys are something else.
We were so weird.
But point is, she's sending me music and stuff, and I was like asking her. She was like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't remember your kids' names. I was like, it's okay. I actually don't know. I'm going to confess to you now. I didn't know Augie's full name.
What? I was kidding.
I was like, I feel like I need to ask her, but it's been so long that I feel stupid. She's like, do you want me to ask your mom on the sly? And I was like, yes. And so she like, and like a week later, she texts me and she's like, his name's August, by the way. And I was like, thank you.
No, you could just text me that. It would be so relatable.
I know.
I would like to point out that I'm always the one in the family who gets so much crap for being an airhead like that because I'll just say it and people are like, you're so dumb. I'm like, we're all that way. We're all that way.
I would guess that I might be even more airheady than you. I just don't say.
It makes me crazy. I'm like, it's not just me. But I am really loud, so I deserve it.
Yeah.
But
I'm like, yeah.
Yes, this is true. Well, in your defense, I think I've told this on here before, but his nurse asked me what his name was like 3 days after he was born. She called. I literally couldn't think of his name. Okay, in my defense, I wasn't sleeping. I had like 4 other kids and this newborn, and I was just totally outside of my mind. And she put me on the spot, and it makes me feel like panicky when the
I
hospital
hate
asks me
that.
questions.
Yes.
But she asked his name, and I was like,
A
and then
name that is well thought out.
hey, seriously, I felt like one of those moms who like is like, I don't even know where he is right now, like just like totally neglectful or something. I was like, I promise I'm a good mom, but and I just totally panicked, and then I had to like pretend that Scotty was there, like doing something naughty, so I could like fill in the lull. So I was like, sorry, just a minute, my toddler, and I was like, Scotty, you need to stop doing that. I just started like talking to nobody and pretending Scotty was being naughty so I could
Knock
think, and
that
then I was like,
off.
his name is August. I couldn't remember my baby's name. I'm losing my mind.
Oh, it's so funny. I've forgotten my second oldest middle name before, because like to be fair, I never call her by her middle name, like ever. And then I was like, they were asking like, what's your kid's full names? I was like, Brinley.
Bryn.
And I'd like look at my phone for a birth certificate really quick. I was like, Austen.
Is her middle name's Austen?
Yeah. See, you
That's
forgot
cute.
too.
I had no idea. I didn't forget. I had zero.
I don't know any of your kids' middle names. I don't even know their first names.
Yeah. His name's Augie. Augie Doggy. That's his name.
It's like, oh, Augie, I know it's short for something. I just don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if I've ever known.
Okay, the other day though, someone's like, "Oh, is Augie short for August?" And I was like, "Yes," because we never call him August. Like it's always Augie,
Yes.
and so I was like, "What did we name him?" Yeah, his name's August.
I knew it was like either August or like Augustus.
Give me some credit, sister.
Oh, Jeffy guessed Augustus. I was like, "What is Augie's full name?" And he's like, "I think it's like Augustus." And I was like, "I don't know."
He's an idiot.
Daddy says you're an idiot.
Augustus Goop. I would never do that.
Nincompoop. I think they like Roman names. That feels like a Roman.
Oh my
name.
gosh. Augustus Gloop, you nincompoop. That's all I could think about. That's from Willy Wonka. Oh, he's like the chocolate-loving big kid who falls into the river. Augustus Gloop. Augustus.
I will name my child after that.
I will never name him Augustus.
We shall call him Augie for short.
Little boy. Oh
okay, gosh. It's getting weird, so we need to go. Also, my kids are losing it, so I really need to go.
I think like my whole family's like, what the freak is mom doing? So,
all right, bye, Natty.
Hey, bye.